Therapy Army, let's be having you. Welcome to United Real Therapy, people. How are we all doing? Big up to every one of you for joining us. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. So Jim has finally got his 27%. And Jim, the Judas, the rat's been speaking. He's been piping up, doing Glazer fucking PR. And we're going to get into it, people. We're going to get into it. He's been doing a bit of Glazer PR. He's been giving it the large, going, yeah, we're going to knock them off their perch. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. I just don't get it. I don't understand what he's saying. But there's a lot of things to get into. So let me just sort the charger out. Hopefully start charging now. Yep. So the laptop doesn't, you know what I mean? The show doesn't go. We need to sort that out. But yeah, we're going to get into it. So let's get into some of these pieces, some of the things what he's come out with before we judge him. But first of all, let me just welcome in the regulars, the United Therapy Army, Mr. Jarvis.
Big up, big up.
Never gonna give you up. And then it's Mr. Sean. Mr. Sean.
Hey guys.
Glazer PR executive on the United Therapy. The guy who's working, Neil Ashton employed him a long time ago.
Yeah, so, always ready to provide
Neil Ashton's lieutenant, second in command. He's all the way over there in the sunny California. And he's got the ears of the Glazers, so we'll get his point of view as well. And I'm looking forward to hearing from him. So big up. But yeah, let's have a look at some of the statements. Let me share some of the stuff. Go back here. There we go. Let's have a look at here. Let's get into it. Right. That's what he says. So he's been laying it on. This is a guy who wanted to buy Barcelona. He wanted to buy partly Arsenal. So let's start with some of the stuff that he's been coming out with. I don't know how well some of you have seen what he's been coming out with. So let's go.
Yeah, and make sure to listen to both interviews, both the one with the BBC and the one with METV.
Yeah, of course. I'm getting the quotes actually from the one at the BBC. So there we go. Can you guys see? Mm-hmm. Have I shared it? Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So let me see if I can maybe press on it a bit more. You can see. So he says. He's bought obviously 1.25 billion investment was completed. He's giving him 27% apparently. You know, in a wide-ranging interview. So here it was. He said, Ratcliffe on being a Manchester United supporter. He says, I was at primary school in North Manchester. In my class, half were pale blue and the other half were red. My family were red family. My mother, father were always Manchester United fans. And my only regret is that my parents aren't here today. I automatically became a Manchester United supporter from the age of 6 or 7. And it's an important element in my life and hugely important to those who support Manchester United. Without a question, my favourite memory was 99 Champions League final victory in Barcelona against Bayern Munich. I was there with my son who was about 11. The last 3 minutes were unforgettable. It was a remarkable moment ingrained in my mind. That is what football is all about. So, yeah, bit of Jackie Norris telling you. Ratcliffe on recent pursuing a deal is but boyhood dream, he says. Never came true. Boyhood dreams never come true normally. This is an exception. It's ruled my heart. It's not a financial investment for me. I wanted to make a financial investment. I would buy another chemical company. Well, for the planet, thank God you don't buy another chemical company. Because, you know, the world is burning as we is. It is very much taking what on the great challenge. I'm very much taking on one on one great challenge in the world. It's very worthy challenge, and I'm very excited. Okay. The only reason I got involved is because I want to see Manchester United restored to where it should be. I might be biased, but I believe it's the biggest and the most well-known club in the world, and it should be playing the greatest football in the world. Okay. It's been clear. It has been clearly difficult 11 years since Alex Ferguson and Gill retired. It's not the switching light switch. It's not a short-term fix. We have to walk the right solution, not the wrong one. The short-term issues is what we want to get into the Champions League. So this is what in the short-term issues is what we want to get into the Champions League. It's 2 or 3 season challenge to get the organization and the environment right, to get the performance on the field right, and to win football matches. This involves the design, the structure, the organization being correct. In the last 11 years, Manchester United have had a lot of coaches. Nobody has been very successful in this environment. It looks like he's been watching the United Real Therapy people. Because we've been banging about that. Sacking a manager ain't going to solve shit unless you change everything. There says to me there's something wrong with the environment, and it's not constructive for me to blame anyone. It's in fact my focus on how I change the environment and get the best out of the coach and the squad. So the question he was posting that question, if you watch the video, when he said the 11 years Manchester United have had he was asked the question, who's to blame? And he's like, oh, it's not for me constructive to blame anyone. Fuck off.
No, but Nuruddin, he's correct.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish. You come to it. Get your notepad out, Sean. Keep writing down in your point of contention with me talking about this, right? Radcliffe and working class, working alongside the Glazer family. The Glazers have owned I know Joe and Avram, and they are, despite what you might read in the press. This is where he's doing the PR for Glazers.
Nice.
Very nice people. They're very nice. Very nice. Very nice. He's going a bit Trump in it. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. When Trump was calling the neo-Nazis in Charlotte, saying there's nice people on both sides. That's what he's talking about. So Joe and Avram he goes, I only know Joe and Avram, and they are, despite what you might read in the press, very nice people, very courteous. They are avid supporters of Manchester I didn't know Jim was a comedian. Honestly, I didn't know he was a part-time. I didn't know he was a part-time comedian. An owner. You know what I mean? He's an owner. He's got shares in Mercedes. And now he's part-time comedian as well. So let me highlight that for you, okay, people? He says, let me highlight that for you. He says here, there you go. That's all you need to understand. Very courteous, and they are avid supporters of Manchester United. He says, I understand the frustrations and the anger of the supporters, but I'm looking forward, not backward. Okay, he repeated that a couple of times. Try to be patient, and we'll try to build Manchester United back to where it should be, which was the only one of the very elite clubs in the world. The keys to working is the relationship we have with Joel and Avram, which is, in my view, a good and trusting relationship. This is what is a trusting relationship. I think, in a way, it might have been the easiest solution for the Glazer family to sell outright to the Qataris. To be fair to the Glazers, they thought the best solution was to sell it to me because they thought United would benefit from that. What the fuck is he talking about? Let me just highlight that for you again, people. I know you can see it clearly. He says, I think in a way it might have been easier for the solution for the Glazer family to sell outright to the Qataris because they wanted to buy the whole club, right? To be fair to the Glazers, they thought the best solution was to sell it to me because they thought United would benefit more from that. What the fuck? I mean, I'll have to stop there because I'll have to let you in. Talk to me, bro, and I'll get these super chats. What do you think about that, Sean? Please, I need you to explain that bit of the paragraph for me. You go first, and we'll get the super chats. Big up to everybody. Please smash a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. On the road to 10K, even though we're shadow banned, even though we're demonetized, we don't give a damn. We don't give a damn. But big up to everybody. Love and light. Please smash a like. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah.
The bit that I highlighted. What do you think about that?
My takeaway, my read of that statement is that I think you can make a reasonable case that it's footballing wise for Manchester as a city, for also political reasons as well. It was better to sell. The best solution was to sell to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, because I think you can make a case that for these like state-owned clubs, they no longer become football clubs per se. They become like brand vehicles essentially for the state's entity, whatever country it is that owns that football club. So the football suffers because look at a club like PSG, for example, where they've tried to build the Galactico thing. The team is lopsided. It's all about like Mbappe and things like that. Look at Man City and the type of like financial engineering that they've had to do, to cook their books, basically to buy certain players. Damn, was I pissing off Nuruddin that much that he just left?
Just keep talking.
He just left the call. So yeah, I think I don't think it's unreasonable. What Sir Jim is saying. I don't look at it as PR necessarily. He sounds to me like a seasoned businessman, like somebody who has been doing this for a long time, somebody who is careful about what he says, in the media, because he knows that like a single comment could affect the stock market and stuff like that. He's careful, well thought out, well spoken man. I agree with him that it's not constructive at this point in time to be blaming the Glazers for anything. That would make us happy. That would make United fans personally happy, but it's not constructive at all. I agree with him 1,000% on that. I also agree with him that like if he wanted to just chase money, he could have done other things. Definitely, he could have bought another petrochemical company. That would be bad for the environment. All of that, I get it. But like this wouldn't be the avenue somebody would pursue who was solely interested in making money. I don't think any of us here have ever met the Glazers before, either any of them. So whatever inferences that we're drawing from our personal views of how they might not be nice people or how evil or Machiavellian that they can be, that's all our United fan fantasy. That's a projection of our hearts. We have no clue what these people actually like in person. We don't know them. Many people haven't spoken to them.
Sean, why do you say that? I do say it with a straight face. They've destroyed the football club that I fucking love. Sean, I'm sorry. That's the point of contention there. Did you say that with a straight face? I don't give a fuck. I don't want to know who they are personally. I know what they've done to my fucking football club. I know why they destroyed the flagship Premier League team. I know what they've done to that.
No, but can I tell you why Sir Jim Ratcliffe doesn't share?
Let's finish up. So I want to get Jarvis in as well. Yeah, go ahead.
In my opinion, the reason why Sir Jim doesn't share the same vitriol that United fans have with the Glazers is because he's a businessman who understands that it is possible to divorce our feelings about the club from the merit of an investment. I think quite clearly Sir Jim and the Glazers recognize that the future of football is very profitable with all the streaming and all the stuff that's coming in. So it makes complete sense for businessmen to think about things in business terms, in terms of profit and returns. He said it's not constructive to lay blame at anybody. And I think he made a very valid point, which I think is being misinterpreted. The point that he made that many managers have failed in that same environment. What that tells me is that in addition to the managers' failings, or in addition to the Glazer or structural failing, the managers too have failed for one reason or the other in history, and that it's not constructive, as he said, to be trying to lay blame at anybody. I don't believe personally.
Okay, we got that. Yeah. I just wanted to hear from Jarvis. We got that. Jarvis, I'm on a Mac, so I can't. Yeah, I don't know what it is on a Mac. I don't know what it is on a Mac. But
well, No problem. I can read it, so it's okay.
It's not better if I go like that.
It's better. I can read it, so no problem. I was just thinking.
Is that a bit better there?
Yeah, we can see it.
I can see it and I can read as well.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good.
Can
you want to read the super chats first?
Yeah. I want to get the super chat first. Big up Sami Yassi, by the way. Sami Yassi. Big up Sami Yassi and big up Adewale as well. Love and light with the super chats. Let me just get to Sami Yassi. Sami Yassi says, when's United's Jim Radcliffe Trophy Parade? Listen, not yet. But all I know is that your boys had 0 shots on target tonight, right? And your boys, Zane, got beaten up by little old Porto, right? Got last-minute winner, mate. That's what happened to your boys. So you come here and get absolutely slammed, and then you dare to come here and say, Miyasi. He says, 4-1 at the Emirates. We had an off night. 4-1 at the Emirates. Okay, that's what he thinks. Big up Adewale. Adewale says here, Eric Tenag's getting sacked. Jim said they will dictate how we play, not the manager. Okay, well, that might be interesting. I do not expect any different from Sean. He said, Nigerian. Most of the guys that are fans of United don't mind the Glazers because they see United as business. And they should be allowed to run their business how they see fit. Okay, that explains a little bit. Big up Adewale, man. Big up Adewale and big up Sean as well. We wanted some healthy debate. Big up to you, King. Always appreciate you with your generous super chats. Love and light. Yeah. Big up Mina. Mina, let me know if you're free. I'll send you the link. I'd love to hear what you've got to say about what's going on at United. So let me know if you're free. Love to you, sister. Make sure, people, you go and subscribe to Mina Football. Make sure she does the watch alongs. She does all sorts of makes interesting videos. She's very more balanced than me, than I am, than this channel. This is a protest channel. This is a channel where you get raw and get real. But you know what I mean? Big up to her football analysis. I really like it. And we need to encourage more women in general and different people to get into football and analysis. And her football analysis is 101, man. It's spot on, honestly. Spot on. So, Jarvis, just with that little statement, I think the way they might have been easier for the solution to sell to the Qataris outright. But to be fair, they thought the best solution was to sell it to me. Please make it make sense, because that ain't making no sense.
Nah. Well, first of all, I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat. I see a lot of good people here. We have Sheikh Ariane, we have Matthews, Craig, Twalumba Firi, Mina Football. So everybody, and remember to hit the like, because we are struggling with the shadow banning of the channel, because Nuruddin and the rest of us try to speak the truth, and YouTube don't like it. So please give us a like. When it comes to this Jim Ratcliffe interview, it's 100% sure that he's trying to butter up the Man United fans. You know, it's almost like a political statement before an election, when they come out and just give us all the bacon we can eat and try to sway us.
He tried to insult our intelligence. We're not little babies. We're not 5-year-olds here. He doesn't have to give us sweets. He's tried to insult our intelligence, Jarvis. It's got to be called out.
I agree, but you can see everybody now is jumping when Ratcliffe says jump, and everybody's on board now with the project. It's so much praise from especially YouTubers and the English press. Everybody likes what they hear, and in a way, yeah, it's almost like, as I was saying, a political speech. He has not only himself to talk for, it's all about Ineos, it's about Man United, it's about the shareholders. So a lot of things that gets affected by his words. So he needs to be smooth as silky whenever he talks. But you know, I think it's hilarious when you point out the things he say about the Glazers. They are good people. They are Man United supporters. Who is he trying to fool? Because everybody knows the Glazers don't give a fuck about Man United. They don't. They only care about the money. Everybody who follows Man United knows that. So obviously he's just lying on camera, right in our faces. So that's Jim for you. But he can't say the truth. Nobody can say the truth because the Glazers are still the majority owner, and that's a big problem. And they will be at least for 3 more years. Hopefully, he will buy them out. He said something positive in the interview that he's not going to sell in 3 years. So that part I like because maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel. Or did you pick up on that, Nordin?
Say?
Did you
Sorry,
pick up on
Jarvis.
that?
What did he say? Which bit did he say? I was just
He
replying.
said that he wasn't going to sell his shares in 3 years. He was
Okay.
definitely going to stay.
Well, we don't know, do we, Jarvis? You
No,
know what
no.
I mean? We don't know yet. You know what I mean? We don't know.
But
Radcliffe
then,
and
Nordin, another thing I picked up was he talked a lot about the environment with the Glazers, that he learned to trust them in these negotiations and
yeah, because he gave them the fucking investment that they wanted all along, Jarvis.
yeah,
They wanted an investment.
I agree, but I reacted to the thing that he said, that now he kind of trusts them and they are good guys and stuff like that. For me, it felt like, are you fucking in? Are you naive?
No, but
Don't you know
here is
who
a
you are dealing with? The most cunning people in the business world of in the last 20 years.
no, but guys,
And it's not
here is
like
a
they're good
counter
people.
a counter narrative, right? Because again, a lot of what we're saying here might be comforting, but to me, I can totally see it a different way, right? It doesn't seem to me like people who don't care about success on the pitch would have hired Jose Mourinho to be our manager. It doesn't seem to me like people who don't care about success on the pitch would have spent the money that they spent bringing players like Paul Pogba.
That was the marketing. Paul Pogba was a marketing. He was an Adidas thing, and it was fully commercial. Today, Sean, I don't know if you watched it. I don't know if you watched Overlap. Yeah, Stick to Football podcast. Wayne Rooney was on the episode today, right? There's the moment there, Gary Neville's veil is flips, right? And Gary Neville says, "Do you remember what happened when I called and said what was happening in my last year before I retired?" This is Gary Neville to Wayne Rooney, because we were having to do all the commercials, and Gary Neville was the captain at that time. He made a speech to the whole squad and said, "Guys, they're gonna get away with this if they can. We need to stick together. You need to be able to not get picked off and taken for commercial," because they were doing so much of the commercial work. And when the vote came, a lot of them, the club was behind the scenes speaking to some of the players and promising them money and bonuses, right? And Gary Neville lost the vote in terms of that. Wayne Rooney then said to him, "You know what? That's when we know was the start of what was coming in at Manchester United, and that all of it was about commercial." So I'm sorry, Sean. There are books written about this. There are ex-players who talk about this.
But you're not.
Ex-coaches who talk
But you're
about
not
this.
refuting.
There are Van Gaal who said it. Jose Mourinho who said it. The focus of what you're talking about is you've got no base where to stand on. You've got people who are actually been there,
But
who were there, who said the club focused on the commercial stuff before the football. And hence why we're the failure in the last 11 fucking years.
I'm not disputing any of that. I'm not disputing that.
No, you just said a minute ago. You just said if you didn't want success, you wouldn't have hired Jose. No, you know why they hired Jose? Do you know why they hired Jose? Do you know why they hired Jose? Do you know why they hired Jose? They hired Jose because Pep was at Man City. Pep was at Man City, and they tried to recreate what was happening in La Liga. Remember what was happening in La Liga? Barcelona, Real Madrid. That's why they would try to recreate. They wanted the whole eyes to be commercialized in here. And Jose knew it as well. And that's why he fucking lived in a fucking hotel. That's why he lived in a hotel.
Let me be clear, right? Let me try and be as clear as possible. I am not disputing that the ownership of United focused on the commercial side of things to the detriment of the footballing side. I am not disputing that. What I am disputing is what seems to me a fantastical assertion that there was no concern at all for football. It seems to me like what the Glazers thought they could do was have it both ways. That's my impression of the way the club was run. That they felt like they could have it both ways. And they brought in leadership in the form of Ed Woodward and all those other people who validated that idea to them. who validated that principle that you can have it both ways, that you can pursue both commercial success and footballing success without one affecting the other, which is why they wasted money on signings they thought could get them both things, both the commercial side and the football side. Now, that was terrible decision making on their part. And one way to look at the sequence of events is as ownership that has learned its lesson that, okay, we don't have expertise on the football side. It's not our strongest suit. So let us sell a stake, some of our stake in the club to people who are going to be in charge of the footballing side. That's one way to look at the last, decade plus or so. Another way to look at it is the way you guys are looking at it, like, oh, the Glazers are just money grubbing, evil. I don't know what you want to use to describe them. But I'm telling you guys, like, United fans should wake up. In 2024, there is no football club in this planet that does not have commercial consideration. There's none. And the clubs that you're comparing to, be careful who you're comparing us to, right? Because in Germany, there are basically only two football clubs. There are basically two football clubs in Germany. In Spain, the same thing applies. One club in Spain, Barcelona, has a line of credits with their bank there, with the Spanish or the bank there in that local vicinity. Real Madrid is basically backed by the Spanish central bank. If you go to Italy, none of those clubs basically are places that people want to pay for, but they still have the same commercial pressure. So this idea that it's somehow foreign for a entity like United to try and generate income for the shareholders is I don't get where it's coming from. Like, I don't understand how we think that even Sir Glazers, even Sir Radcliffe or Qatari, that was everybody's dream ownership. I don't understand how we think those guys would not have had a commercial priority as well. They would have tried to make their money back. This is not charity, right? This is not a charity program. Anybody who invested in United, whether it's Qatar, Sir Jim, or whatever, will be looking to get their money back. Sir Jim was clear in his interview that, like, Rome wasn't built in a day. He's not looking to achieve success right away. He's also not going to spend money anyhow in the summer. So fans that are thinking that, like, we're going to buy whoever we want to buy in the summer, that's not going to happen. And because these guys have to protect their investments as well. So all I'm saying is that, like, don't attribute to malice what you can attribute to incompetence. For me, Occam's razor says these people were trying to.
Sean, I'm sorry, but Sean, I'm sorry, brother, but I refuse. Listen, incompetence, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years at the maximum, not 11 fucking years, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Any corporate setting, I've got siblings, I've got friends who work in the corporate sector. Once a senior manager, right, a CEO hires directors, right, of whatever department, and they all fail, his position becomes untenable. That's how it works. If you want to go along with this corporate stuff, that's how it works. I'm sorry, the Glazers are not.
But how do you assess failure? By every metric, the Glazers have recouped their investment.
The failure.
So what do you mean by failure?
Sean, I'm sorry to say, they're not blind. They know sport. They follow. They have a football team that they follow in America. They have another sports organization. They understand what a failure on a pitch is. Right?
No, but
United. I'm sorry, Sean. Sean,
made top four more times than they didn't.
Sean,
their dividends, their shares have grown exponentially since they bought the club. So what more do you want? But they're not winning.
Sean, listen to me. All of that was driven. You're telling me this, right? This is what you're telling me. This is what your argument that Sean's making, people. That the Glazers were only concerned about money. And the reason why the money came was because the success on the football pitch, right? If the success on the football pitch wasn't there, the money wouldn't be. Let me finish. The money would not be there. So the Glazers were only.
You're summarizing my claim now.
Let me finish. Glazers were only concerned about the money, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Why did the money dry up?" I wonder.
That's not what I said.
I wonder.
That's not what I'm saying.
I wonder what happened. No,
I'm pointing out the holes. I'm pointing out the holes in your argument, because people who believe that the Glazers only care about money have to explain why they didn't sell all their shares to the highest bidder, Qatar. Also, why they gave up control of footballing operations to somebody else. You have to explain why they were willing to take steps to
We don't know
improve the
that.
football if all they cared about was money. That's what I'm saying.
Because
It doesn't make sense.
have you not heard, Sean? Sean, for 27%, they've got 1.7 billion. We broke it down on this channel. I don't know where you've been, but they all got shares of it. The 7 or the 5 Glazers and the Woodwards all got money from the money. They needed an injection of money. They all got over how many? 100 something billion.
They would have been
100
far
million.
better off selling everything.
They all got money.
They would
And
have
none
been
of
far
them's going
better
to
off.
the club. What
They
are
would
you
have been
talking
better off
about?
selling everything. They would have been better off selling the
No,
entire
but
holding.
because no, Sean, this is what you don't understand. From day one on this
About
channel, we
assets.
told everybody they weren't gonna sell because they still think they're gonna milk more money out of this fucking football club. So that's what they're banking on, to milk more. We already talked about it on this channel. They want to bring in this this virtual reality thing. They want to bring in. They're waiting for the World Cup in 2026 in the US.
No, but
They're trying to make more money.
So what?
I'm sorry,
so what
Sean.
if they want to make more money? So what? Like that's their prerogative as owners of the club.
Oh my God, Sean, you're going around in circles. There are a lot
No.
of points. We've gone 31 minutes, right? And we've not even covered the main thing. So I'm sorry, Sean. You've had your say, I've had my say. People who can watch
let's move on. Sure.
can agree to disagree with that. But the idea that the Glazers, 1 minute for your argument, Glazers care about money. No, but they care about the sport as well. Oh, but then they
that's not my argument. My
No,
argument
you're
is
not.
simply
Please, you don't hear what he said.
my argument is simply these are regular human beings who are making mistakes, not
11
Machiavellian,
years. 11
not
year mistakes.
Machiavellian monsters that you guys
11
are
years.
to be.
11
all
year
I'm saying.
mistakes.
That's all
11
I'm
years,
saying.
Sean. 11 years. 11
Sean,
years.
as a football supporter, neglect feels like Machiavellian monsters for us. You know, for us, the most important thing is that the club is fine, that we are competing for titles, the Premier League and the Champions League every year. That's Man United.
No, but Jarvis,
the Glazers don't care
let's
because
go
they
back.
want us to compete in the most valuable football team and how much revenue we can make. That's their target.
But
and
Jarvis,
that's neglect
Jarvis,
for
I
us.
agree with you. But let's go back. Let's go back and look at the history of these failures on the pitch. At almost every there was a cycle of false dawns, and then failures. False dawns and then failures. So it doesn't seem to me like it was complete, failure throughout the whole thing. There were moments where it felt like
No. It's
we were
about
going in the right
qualifying for the
direction.
Champions League, because if we didn't, we will lose all the sponsoring ship. They will drop 30-40% the Adidas deal and stuff like that if you don't qualify for the Champions League at least every other year. So that's just the way it is. It's all about business for them.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why
I'm fine with
the
moving
more
on, but
famous-
I just don't want Nuruddin to be mischaracterizing what I'm saying. All I'm simply saying is that, like, I see a much more simpler explanation for everything than a conspiracy. Basically, it doesn't. The conspiracy angle just doesn't fly with me. But Nuruddin, you can move on to other comments.
No, it's not. It's not conspiracy. It's incompetence. That's the thing. It's incompetence from their side,
Sean,
and they don't see it
facts
themselves.
on the ground. Sean, I don't want to power up, I want to move on. The facts on the ground is that Manchester United, the flagship Premier League team, 13 titles, all of this success after the game was getting globalized. So we're talking about beginning to 90s to early on in noughties. Manchester United, Premier League, technology. As the game was changing and the more games were televised, what's the flagship? What's the biggest football club in the world in terms of the biggest league in the world, the Premier League, right? That is what was happening. That's what they had in control of. They put 3 bankers in charge, Matt Judge, Ed Woodward, Richard Arnold, in the key positions of the football club, and they ruined it. And they let a guy have control for a decade. So I'm sorry, Sean. This is not my opinions. This is not Jarvis or the people.
But I don't disagree with anything
reality. You are now contradicting the reality. You're contradicting the reality. In that time, Sean, Manchester United have spent £1 billion down paying the debt. $1 billion. And it spent $1.5 billion in transfer, right? And all of that we've got to show for a League Cup, 2 League Cups, a Europa League, and an FA Cup. In 11 years. And in that, they had what? In the 19 years that they've been here, they took it out 2.5 billion. They wasted.
You forgot about the mighty charity shield.
No, but Nuruddin, what's you like? We don't disagree on any of that. Like, I don't disagree with anything you've said there. So what are we arguing about, really?
Well, you're saying that we're saying these people are. Listen, if there was any law in the country, if there was any rights in terms of a community asset like a football club, because football clubs are not like business, they are different. Football clubs are a heart of a community. They're not like fucking shit the company that you started when you and your friends started. Football clubs have a soul, have history, are part of a community, especially in a city, working class city like Manchester, where people who support pass down the support, generation after generation
that's where we
after
disagree.
generation. Right.
This is where we disagree.
No, so what you're talking about, it's not like, you don't run it like a normal business, because there are two, like a normal corporate business. You haven't got millions of people, not even that, but you haven't got thousands of people turning up emotionally, physically, going to the football ground, supporting the club through thick and thin, especially the early years, what we went through with the 1958 and what happened to them, right? In 1950, the tragedy, right? Why Manchester United became world famous after the war. One of the biggest tragedies in the world at that time was the Munich disaster. That's where Manchester United globally got known. Everybody, 10 years later, we come back. That draws people in because there is a human thing, not because of money.
Emotional blackmail is the word. Emotional blackmail.
So when you have that, then you do the gross misconduct of the highest order. 11 years of absolute failure. For when Manchester United was so far ahead of everybody else, for us to be almost a decade behind, is so the argument is done, Sean. I don't want to argue about that. I want to
what are we arguing about, really?
Because you're saying that.
No. Our difference is that you feel like football clubs should be operated not as a business but as a public entity. I disagree. I think football clubs are a business, regular business. Not only is it a business, this is a publicly traded entity on the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay. It shouldn't be. But that's the point I'm trying to make to you. Manchester United should never be. No football club should be traded. Liverpool or not. Liverpool or not. Man City or not. Chelsea or not. Right? In fact, so long as I understand, unless I miss something. Manchester United, Real Madrid or not, Barcelona or not, Bayern Munich or not, all of our fucking competitors, whether they're in Italy, in Spain, or Germany, are not stock traded. They are not. And I told Martin Edwards, he was in his car, he was driving past, and I said to him, you started that shit by posting Manchester United on the London Stock Exchange. You've opened us up to the Glazers, and now look where we are. And his driver sped off. So, I'm sorry, Sean. No. And not one Manchester United fan will tell you you're the only one. And you want to be out here on your own, you want to die on that hill, go ahead.
I'm not the only one.
You are the only one that I know of that wants to do that. Right? Let me get to the next thing. Let's move on to the next thing. Radcliffe on recruitment on the field. Ultimately, the level we want Manchester United to be, blah, blah, blah. He's saying we want it to be this. We need to be so good and else game recruitment. We have been AFFP, financial fair play, new element in football. No, it's not a new element in football. It's not. It's just that the UEFA one's got more teeth and the Premier League one has to have more teeth, but they don't even know what the fucking rules. They're just punishing people without ever setting proper rules saying that if this happens, this is what happens to you. That's why I agree with teams like Nottingham Forest and Everton and stuff like that, because you're almost kind of punishing them and you're like, for what though? For what? So, I'm sorry. And you know what, Jarvis? Not one person asked him about the fucking debt, Jarvis. Not one person. So, he continues on to say, we find the best people in order to ensure that right characters, personality to create an environment. So, Radcliffe on Dan Ashworth. Jarvis, do you want to ring this? You want to read that for the people, please, if you can read it?
Where are we now?
Sean's making me lose my bloody temper, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to have a heart attack. But go ahead.
Where are we on the? I think Dan Ashford is a 10 out of 10 sport director, or is it the next segment? Oh, this. Yeah, I think Dan Ashford is a 10 out of 10 sport director. Yeah, that's okay. He's good. One of the best around. He would be very good for Manchester United. I understand that somebody like Dan would see the Manchester United job as very interesting, challenge at this stage of his career. Yeah, it's true. Ultimately, we can really criticize. We can't really criticize Dan for looking at maybe the most coveted job in football as a sporting director, particularly as the challenge of Manchester United. What does it make sense? What doesn't make sense for Dan Ashford is to be sat down and doing nothing for 18 months. So basically, that's okay. He talks about Dan Ashford, and I think Dan Ashford is a good signing. I think he will do a lot of good for Man United. He's experienced, and at least he knows football, and that's a good thing. Yeah, we need to look at the facts, judge fairly, and take into consideration that the values of the clubs are what the values of the clubs are. Then come out of that with a decision. It's not appropriate to me to comment on Mason Greenwood. Yeah, the Mason Greenwood thing. I think he's saying that that they will make a decision on Mason Greenwood, but they're not ready to do anything. How did you see it, Nuruddin? The comment about Mason.
I saw it as him kicking it down the line. He didn't
Yeah,
want
but
to.
you say
Either way,
you want to
he's
look at the
giving the
facts and
people.
judge fairly.
Yeah, he's giving the. Sorry, Sean, I didn't know you disappeared. He's giving the people who want Mason Greenwood back a hope, and those who want him out. So he's doing a politician, basically, like you said. He's speaking both sides of his mouth. That's what he's doing. But I don't. I like I said to you, unless, and I said it, and I keep saying it again, unless Mason Greenwood and his partner come and explain what we saw, unless they sat down in front of a camera and explain the videos and the audio that we heard, then he's not coming back to Manchester United. Unless they do that. If they can do that, fine. If they can't, then he's not coming back to Manchester United.
For me, that comment tells me that you don't want to rule anything out, and it makes sense, because if they have any intentions of making money on Mason Greenwood, they have to keep an opening for, like, they want to take him back, because they want to have some leverage in the negotiation with other clubs. So for me, that's a sensible statement.
For me, everything Sir Jim is saying so far sounds extremely sensible to me. Like over sensible wants to kill Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, obviously, the proof for all of this would be in pudding, right? But he seems to me like a fairly regular, normal businessman talking about normal things. I know it's also a question. The reason why nobody is asking him about the debts, because he's not getting interviewed by fans necessarily, number one. And number two, is not as important as people are making it out to be. It just isn't that important to the grand scheme of things, or to what actually happened.
I know what you're trying to do, Sean. I'm not gonna bite.
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to do anything.
I'm not gonna bite.
We
debt is important. The debt is important. Don't let me tell you that. The only time Manchester United were ever in debt before the Glazers was in the 1930s during wartime, and Manchester United now are in debt for 664 million in outstanding transfer fees we own to players that we've already have. You know what? In the time before, 11 years ago, we were only 7 million. We only overowed 7 million. And you know what? Eva, if you take that rate into inflation, that would be, guess what? 13 million. So I'm sorry, Sean. I am really sorry. But the debt is important. We already maxed out the line of credit. No, any business, Sean, that's where I agree with you. Big breaking news. I'm going to agree with Sean that you need a line of credit. Now they had any business has to have a line of credit to be able to operate. So that they maxed out. I think 200 million. That's why the debt is 1.1 billion. But the 650 million that they took out, that is actually risen to, it used to be 550. Now it's almost 650, I think, last time I checked, right? Was from the 19 years of Glazer ownership. And it does mean something, because I'm telling you now, if Manchester United wouldn't have to pay down that debt, FFP would not touch us. they would not be anywhere near us because we would generate a lot more money than most teams because of our reach and our fame, and FFP will not apply to us. But because of the debt, things are a bit tight, and they can't go and move.
If I can jump in here, Nuruddin, what I would say is that my understanding of the way FFP works is that FFP is about turnover. Turnover is like the
revenue.
Yeah, revenue. And turnover is the starting point. Turnover is before debt, right? So I don't think the debt payments every year are affecting FFP.
No. It's 300 and something 350 million in past transfer fees that the own clubs, for example, that directly affects the FFP every season, for example.
Sure. Yeah. And what I want to point out is that like this is part of the mismanagement that I am not disagreeing with anybody that the club has been mismanaged for the last 11 years. That's not what I'm here to say. I'm not here to say that the Glazers are good owners or that they are perfect owners. All I'm simply pointing out, number one, you cannot get somebody to act against their interest. That is what fans don't seem to understand about ownership. The Glazers own the club. We can't get them to act against their own interest. It is not in their interest to sell, and so they're not going to sell completely. So my advice to everybody has been to let's not get ourselves worked up over something that we cannot control. All we want as fans, all I want is to win games on the pitch. That's all I care about. And I feel like if we were winning games, this would be less of an issue, right? The Glazers stuff would be less of an issue if/when we are winning games. That's why I'm more focused on what's going on the pitch than the ownership conversation and everything. And I'm not getting worked up over the Glazers because it's not something that I think we can control or do anything about. Like, they seem to me like perfect, like normal football owners. That's what they look like to me. They look like owners of clubs, like other owners of other clubs. I don't like the comparison to Bayern, Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Man City because those are not normal clubs. None of those clubs are normal football clubs that we can compare ourselves with, or that I think we should be trying to model ourselves after. Barcelona and Real Madrid are state-backed clubs in Spain. Barcelona by the local independent Spanish country there, and Catalina, and Real Madrid by the Central Bank of Spain. Bayern Munich is basically like it's Germany. Germany is Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich can wake up today and sign a manager for Bayer Leverkusen, Xabi Alonso or something, or they can wake up and sign a player from the next best team, and they can still do that. And Man City is owned by a nation state, and they had to cook their books in order to be able to do all the transfers that they've done. So let's not compare ourselves to those clubs. The clubs Man United has been run poorly over the last 11 years. We don't disagree on any of that. Where we disagree is if this has happened in the normal course of business or if this is an extraordinary fuck up. I think it's a normal course of business, normal way of doing things that has produced bad results. But I don't blame the result entirely on the owners. And I mean, I love what I'm seeing from the club right now. And Sir Jim talked about it, that since he signed on the 25th, I think of January or December, the club has been in good form. Having that sense of direction, having that sense of togetherness has been good for the team.
Okay, Sean, I disagree, fundamentally disagree.
They're not. Disagree.
They're not. I'm sorry. I fundamentally disagree. What the Glazers have done is crimes against Manchester United. And with early law, they would be locked up. Big up Mick, Man UFC Realist TV. Make sure you subscribe to that channel. Get back to sleep. But said Nura, please get this Dave Jim sexual. Listen, by the way, can we please keep it respectful? No. People have different opinions. Can we please keep it respectful? Sean and I disagree. There are some of you who agree with Sean, and some of you don't agree with Sean. Now, you can pick about his argument, but let's not get abusive here. He's my brother at the end of the day. He's my brother.
Your booze mean nothing to me. In fact, I feed off your negative comments. I'm looking at the chat.
Sean, listen to me.
They energize me.
Stop it. Stop it, right? Let me agree with him. Right, people, let them. And also, Matthias, I've got a bone to pick with you. 1 minute. Hayata said we should compare to those big clubs. Yeah, we should. 100%, because they are competitors. Oh damn! There we go. I've got the short.
Again,
Listen, what I was talking about before, Mateus, you've got a yellow card for this. When I was talking about Mina and saying that we should get women, support women who encourage more women to participate and make content about football. You said we don't back women. We don't back women's sport. That's why it won't grow. Ah, okay. I misunderstood. You're not in my
women.
book.
Women don't back women in sports.
Women don't back. But you know what? Mina does. There are some women who back women's sports. They do. And Nina's one of those people. So be careful what you say, bro. Because unless you know that person, because we were talking about women's football because of Mina, you have to realize that she does. She talks about, she does shows about Manchester United's women's team. She does. And a lot of women, actually, a lot of women in my life who were never interested in football. Now we go to the women's game together. And hopefully, if we get a new stadium, we will go more. More. I would take my nieces. I would take my friends' daughters, and everybody. I would take to the stadium. It's just because it was never there. It was never there. So that's the reason why. And I've got this to say to you, Mateus. Manchester United have the record for the first game to be sold out. One of the first games, the highest supporters in a stadium for women's league game. I was part of that. Every time the record is broken, every time they put on a match at Old Trafford, I was there. Every time. So were millions of people with their daughters. So many of my friends, thousands, not millions, thousands of people bringing their daughters and their sons to watch football. It's football at the end of the day, right? So stop that divisiveness. You've got a yellow card. Yellow card. Let's continue. This is where he gets a bit cringe. It gets a bit of cringe. So when it comes to Ratcliffe and Man City and Liverpool, when Man City played Real Madrid at home and won 4-0 last season in a Champions League final, the best that was the best football I've ever seen. If it can get to that point, it would be a great achievement. In the Northwest, we have two neighbours who are really impressive football clubs. I want to knock them off their perch. Bullshit. Absolute embarrassing. We are friends in the sense that we're all in the North, but they are our biggest enemies. This is where he's trying to get in with the fans, right? It's just bullshit PR.
Wait, but like, is it what we want to hear?
Let me finish. They're clearly our biggest competitors in the UK. We are a long way behind. It's not going to change tomorrow, but tomorrow, people fortunately need to give us time to get back. It'll be 2 or 3 seasons. Patience is needed. Spending lavishly in the summer is not a solution. It's much more complicated than that. That bit there, I do agree with.
Yeah.
That bit there, splashing cash on donkeys is not the fucking way. And everybody understands that. The rest of it is cringe. They're the enemies. And we need to knock them off their perch. So he's quoting Fergie, try to get in there. This is just desperate. Absolutely desperate. Desperate there.
I loved it.
There. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic what he's saying there. And that knocking them off, it is nonsense. It's a lie.
What do you mean when you read it?
Listen to me.
That's his
Manchester
aspiration.
United, the best operated football club, right? Even if they've done it to get cheated, is in terms of who they buy, the players that they sell. They might inflate how much money they make. City are guilty. They're guilty as charged for them to say in those years they were the highest earners in the Premier League. It's ridiculous. It's laughable. But in terms of what they produce on the football pitch, the players that they bought, the football they play, they are light years ahead of Manchester United. So it won't be. Jarvis, I'll go to you. It's embarrassing for him to say those things. We're not fucking 6-year-old children. We are fans. There has to be some level of respect.
Yeah, basically he talks about Man City, but I don't know. For me, Liverpool is our biggest competitor and our enemy. Man City is a non-existing club in a way because they were never any good when I grew up, and now the sheikhs came in and gave them all the money and they cooked the books, and suddenly they are a top team. But there's no fans to banter and talk to when it comes to Manchester City, especially. Maybe you guys have it in Manchester, but in Norway or in the rest of the world, there's none. The only Man City fans I see is 6-year-olds with the blue shirts and Haaland on the back. That's the only thing, young fans. But they have no grown-ups fans. Maybe one in 10,000. especially in Norway.
We don't see it as well. The first fixture comes out, Jarvis. It's the game at Anfield and the game at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
Every United fan looks at that. We don't look at
why
them.
is
So
all
it's
this talk about Manchester City? Are you trying to build a what is he trying to do? What is he talking about?
Beats me.
Yeah.
He's communicating his aspiration for the club. What more do we want?
What a weird way. That wasn't the best game in the world. That was a one-sided game.
No. He talked about what he saw. He said, when I watched that game of Man City versus Real Madrid, that is the best football I've seen in a long time. And I wish that this team could play like that. What don't we always sit here talking about how we wish we could destroy teams or dominate teams the way these other football clubs do? That's what Sir Jim is saying there, pretty much. He's saying, I saw the way Man City dominated Real Madrid. I would like us to be able to do that, to get to that stage. What do we want again from the new owner, the person leading the club in the new direction? What more do you want other than an aspiration to knock Man City and Liverpool off their current perches? What more could we ask for?
I don't know about that, Sean. Honestly, I'm not asking for that. That's one thing I know. I'm not asking for that. I'm certainly not asking for that. What I'm asking for,
to be clear, you're not asking for us to be the most successful club in England anymore.
No, because I know there's a lot more hard work to do other than trying to insult the intelligence of fans.
That's what he's saying as well. That's literally what he's
insulting.
Too.
I'm sorry, Sean. He's insulting fans by going on about perch and all that bullshit, right? That's what he's doing. We're not children.
Come on,
we're not children. I'm sorry. We're not children, right? We're nowhere near Man City in terms of we don't even look at them in that rivals. We don't even look at them. Liverpool is the team that we look to. We'll see what they do.
What do you mean? How can we say we don't look at City, but we look at Liverpool? When Liverpool
listen, because in terms of rivalry, as Jarvis just explained to you, in terms of rivalry, they don't have our history. They don't have our history. They don't. They want a treble, and they've 150. I've done the 15 charges against them.
Yeah,
so,
I would suggest that the last 10 years is more relevant history in assessing the standings of football clubs now.
Because Sean, you refuse to admit we had owners that played against us. That literally week on week were playing against us.
No, but it's kind of like
I'm sorry, Sean. We had bankers who were playing Football Manager. That's what was happening. But anyway, I want to get more from Jarvis. Luke Shaw is injured.
Yeah.
Jarvis. I said when he got a new contract, I told everybody and their nan and said, I've got the T-shirt, I've seen the movie, I've watched. Why the fuck are they giving him a 5-year fucking contract?
Yeah, you said it. And that's the thing. Everybody knew it. If you have paid attention and you stayed awake in class, because this is what Luke Shaw do all the time. But now he's injured again. You know, it's not his fault that he's injured. That's just things happened. For me, I'm more critical to the club. What were we thinking? Sending Alvaro Fernandez out on loan. We didn't even renew the loan on Regulon. We had Malacia out after a surgery, ACL injury, and suddenly we thought, he will be back in January. Everything will be fine. You know, that's how you plan. That's how you plan if you don't know football. After an ACL injury operation, you think that he will come back like that and there will be no complications. That's fairly deluded thinking. And now Luke Shaw is injured again after a long injury in the first half of the season. That's always happens when people are injured for a long time. The muscles fades in the other foot, and it takes longer time. It's not just for the injury to heal. You got to heal all of your body and to get it leveled. And it takes a long time, and you got to understand that. And everybody who's been following football for a lot of years understands this. And now, of course, Luke Shaw is injured again. What happened to Licha? He played a couple of games, injured again. And we will see this. People who are out for a long time usually gets injured again. That's just the way it is. So now we got to rely on Lindelof and, I don't know, maybe Amrabat to play right back. And how are you going to even think to qualify for top 4 without a left back? It's ridiculous, and this is how we run our club.
Could we call back as an emergency? Could we call back Alvaro? Do you think there are any?
No. The window is closed. The window is closed. There's nothing we can do.
He's our player. He's our player. I've seen other teams do that before. They have called back when players have been injured.
No, I think we have the Premier League squad is set. I think there's no openings. But
even if we could, why would we want to call back Alvaro Fernandez from his loan when he can just finish?
We don't have a left back
where he is.
Wan-Bissaka is out for 2 to 4 weeks. But as I said in the beginning, if you're back from a long injury and you start playing again right away, week in, week out, 90 minutes, you get injured again, and that's what's happening. So you got to take it slowly, maybe a couple of months, maybe one game, half a game. Then you sit out a game to keep going. So that's the problem. We don't have any fullbacks.
Okay. So basically, you can call him back if Manchester United in January inserted a recall clause on his transfer offer. So when we let him go to Benfica, if we inserted the recall, we can call him back.
Yeah. I don't
personally. I don't think that Luke Shaw is sitting in his room thinking about how he can scam Man United by faking an injury every time he signs a new contract.
So listen, Sean? There's something called a view. So you see him, the player, every time his contract is coming up, he happens to be available. He has a wonder of a season. As soon as he gets that contract, boom. Reverses the gears again. He gets injured, right? Let me finish. And then you're like, so why the fuck am I giving you a 5-year new deal? Because I know that in the last 4.5-year deal that I gave you, I know that before that you were phenomenal. Afterwards, you were injured and you were in and out of the team. So why am I giving you 5 years? On what planet? I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. This is where me and you depart. A proper football club looks at it, assesses it, gets the medical team in, gets the rehab injury team in, looks at it and says, here's the transfer. This is what we want to offer Luke Shaw. We want to offer him this. The coaching staff is sitting there. The manager's sitting there. This is his injuries. This is what happens when he's coming up to to get a new contract. This is the amount of what he's been getting. Guys, do you think he deserves another contract? No, he doesn't, because you know what? There's a pattern here. There's something going on here.
So can I respond now?
Luke Shaw, see you fucking later. Are you kidding me? That's what proper clubs do. They get rid of you. You know what Omar Barada said? You know what Omar Barada said? After 2 years, if you're not doing it and you're getting injured and you got injury prone, see you later, mate.
So can I respond now?
Yeah.
So Luke Shaw has been at United for I think 10 years.
10 years
or more. He has signed 2 contracts, if my memory serves me correctly. The initial contract that brought him to United and 1 renewal.
No, 2 renewals. 2 renewals, my friend.
2 renewals over a 10-year period. I'm sorry, but that is not enough data for me to come up with a quote-unquote pattern. I'm sorry. That's just for me. That doesn't indicate a pattern. I don't see that. I don't see
Sean.
A pattern.
Okay, Sean. So do you think I pulled it out on my backside? Why was I on this channel saying
I think your
Luke
reason
Shaw,
is motivated.
when he's playing for a contract? Sean, professional footballers have come out. Breaking news for Sean, people. Not rest of you, but for Sean. Breaking news. Footballers who have retired have said, when you're playing for a contract, all of a sudden, you have a chat with your agent, you step it up a bit, you even if it's your injured,
that's
you
not
play
new
through
to me.
pain.
That's common sense. That's not new to me. That's common sense.
So no, that's new to you. And then once you get that contract, you take it easy. You relax.
No, you're
That's what you do. That's what fucking Luke Shaw has done. That's what he's done twice in 2 renewals.
So for me, two 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 data points don't make a pattern, right?
It's a pattern.
As far as I'm concerned, a pattern starts at anything between 3 and 10. You can infer a pattern, and even then, the data needs to be looked at closely. I have no problem whatsoever with Luke Shaw as a Manchester United player. I think he's one of the best left backs in the world. My memory of United being a United fan growing up was with having players like Darren Fletcher and Wes Brown and even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who spent many years injured or unavailable, and it wasn't a problem necessarily. When they were available, they came and they played their parts. That applies to Wes Brown. That applies to
At
Darren
that
Fletcher.
time, we had world class. We had
But
world
Sean,
class footballers.
Sean, look at
in the
this.
football.
Look at this. This is Luke Shaw's injury record. Muscle injury, leg injury, corona, hamstring, head injury, ankle injury, bruises, concussions, and there's 2 pages, and foot injury, groin injury, and of course he had this he broke his leg, and that was dreadful.
Jarvis, at each of those injuries.
Let me continue.
Let me finish. 1 second.
This is the seasons. Games missed. That's vital. So 9 games missed in his first season. 31, but that's when he broke his leg. 64, 30 games missed, 11 games missed, 23 games missed, 18, 3, and 16 games missed last season. So this is his injury record. Why would you give a player like this a renewal of a 5-year contract?
But the question based on you guys' proposition is that the assertion you made was there a contract renewal each of these times? Was there a contract renewal up on the table each of these years when he was out for 64 games or 30 games or 22 games? Exactly. He's an injury-prone player.
Right.
He's an injury-prone player.
So why, Sean, you've not answered the question. So when you know that, and you know he puts it in, right? He's always available before a contract. He's not getting injured before a contract.
But we don't know that,
right?
Based on
no, we do know because Sean,
look at this
watched
data.
him. I've watched him. I've gone to that stadium. I've seen him. And I'm like, we all, you know what we all do, Sean? I'm sorry, Sean. You know what we all do at the stadium? You know what we do at the stadium? We go, oh, Shaw's getting about. Oh, is he playing for a new contract? Then we all have a laugh.
Wait, so Jarvis, when did he get a contract?
We say that when we see him.
When?
His
contract. I'm saying
he got a contract last year.
Because the data doesn't add up to what you're saying. It doesn't follow.
Sean, listen, forget even about the contracts. On the injury on the game Smith, should you give a player a 5-year contract? Yes or no? Forget even when he signed the contract. On the injury that we just read out, right? In the amount of games that he's missed per season, do you give a player like that a 5-year contract? Yes or no?
Anybody who gives you a yes or no answer to that question is a charlatan because it depends. It depends. You cannot give a yes or no answer to that kind of question.
Okay. In your words, Sean, you just said before when Jarvis told you the games that he missed, he's the injury-prone player. So why the fuck are you giving in modern day football? Why are you giving 5-year contract to an injury-prone player? If you were an owner of a football club,
I could give you several reasons. I could give you several reasons why they would give him a contract.
Okay, let me ask Jarvis. You think about it. Jarvis, are you giving Luke Shaw a new 5-year contract after the injury record that he's had?
No, I wouldn't personally, and it's nothing against Luke Shaw because I think he's a great guy, and he shows he has a great mentality. Coming back, playing professional football at a high level after he broke his leg that way against Feyenoord. That was a horrible accident. When he broke his leg, and we all have seen the picture of his leg with all his scars, and it looks really bad.
I don't blame him. I do not blame him for that one.
No. So I have respect. I have utterly respect for Luke Shaw.
It was a horrific
but I wouldn't
tackle.
have given him a contract because we are not a charity. We are running a football club, and our aim is trying to win games. And we can't be a competitive team and perform at a high level with players who is always injured and missing games. That's a big problem. And now we are playing the rest of the season without a left back. That's a big problem.
So Jarvis, I really appreciate your position. I think when you're running a club like Manchester United, you can make all those calls that you want. I don't feel confident as I'm sitting out here playing armchair pundit, deciding whether or not I would give Luke Shaw a contract. I don't know. I could see reasons why you would give him a contract. I could see reasons why you wouldn't give him a contract. Either way, it doesn't make much of a difference to me. So like this the
Sean,
idea that like
I'm sorry,
the idea
Sean.
that like running a
So
football
Sean,
club,
so by that reckoning, people, Sean would have given Phil Jones the new contracts to sit there. That's because that's what you're saying. If you're saying that, Shaw is like going like vulturing on Phil Jones. Amount of games that he's missing every season, quarter, half. I'm sorry, Sean. You are not giving that person. If you have any clarity in your head, you're looking at him going, you're always injured. The best availability, the best form is being available. That's why, regardless whatever you say about Maguire, I dislike Maguire. I absolutely, as a footballer, I don't know him personally. As a footballer, I'm on YouTube for saying that guy is not worth 80 million. He's not a Manchester United player, and he'll be exposed. And I was right. And people were coming for me after he had a maybe 6 month or a season where he looked decent when we were playing low block fucking bullshit football. But the truth always came to light. Not that I'm some expert. I've just watched enough football to see it. But one thing I would say about that him, he's always available. I do not rate Bruno Fernandes. I think Bruno Fernandes has found out for what he is. Positionally indisciplined. Cost Manchester United games this season by his indisciplined positioning. Headless chicken running. But one thing I will say about him, he's always fit. Luke Shaw is not somebody that I would always think he was fit. That is a bugbearer of mine. I was on here, Jarvis, talking about Varane before we signed Varane, talking about his injuries at Real Madrid going, I do not want you to buy somebody who's getting injured all of the time. And even that, to add to that, our medical department is not the best. It's not.
No.
It's not.
Yeah, when you know our record with Phil Jones, we have Eric Bailly, Royo was always injured. We have had a lot of, especially defenders, who was always injured, and that's a big problem. And now we have Luke Shaw again. Maybe Licha will be one of those because his injuries is not the metatarsal bone. It's very tough. It's like very flexible bones, and when it breaks, it never gets 100% healed. So maybe he will be the next one who will always be injured. So it's about taking the tough calls, hard decisions. Sometimes even players you like, you just gotta let him go because you are too injured. Sorry, but next, please.
Yeah. All in all, people, I would never have given. Well, who the hell am I? I'm a guy who's got two the basic FA level 1 and 2 coaching badges. I would never in my life have given Luke Shaw another contract. I would have said, thank you so much, Luke. It's been a pleasure. We'll get money for you, or you can go on a free. That's what I would have done. And I would have replaced his ass. But instead, the mismanagement, the misconduct of Manchester United, players like him and Phil Jones were getting contract after contract. And that's where we're at. This is the way the club has been run. And we have talked about it here again and again and again. And the medical department at Manchester United, I don't know what the hell is going on there. I remember when Pogba, do you remember when Pogba? He was injured, I think, against Rochdale in the cup. It's like when that schoolboy scored that game. I was at Old Trafford, the schoolboys, like 16-year-olds in the FA Cup or the League Cup, whatever it was. He scored against us and he had to go to school the next day. It was funny. I mean, he scored at Old Trafford and then he went to school the next day. That game, he got injured. He got taken off. The next game, Ollie played him against Arsenal and he didn't heal from the injury. He was still injured and he was limping around the football pitch. I saw it with my own eyes. We were there.
Yeah, I mean,
and then Pogba had to go and get a second or third kind of consultants to come in and have a look at his injuries to go and get that surgery.
I think
he's never been right after that. That
I
was
would
his
encourage
first
more.
big injury.
I would
He's
encourage
never
more.
been right. He had to go to Dubai to warm with the training and all that stuff to heal from that. And it was there. Martial, regardless whatever you think about him, comes out and says, Ollie forced him to play while he was injured. I was talking about constantly with Aaron. If you know Aaron, right? He used to be on the Straight Jacket podcast. Me and him would always, I would like, what's Rashford doing? Always holding his back. We saw that he had a fractured fucking spine or whatever. Broke bones in his back and his shoulder, right? So I'm sorry. Manchester United have a problem.
Double A. Is this double A you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it might be comforting generally for us to, again, with all respect to the qualifications that you have, I just would rather I would be demure, or I would encourage more circumspection from people just about what we know, what we don't know, what we can see.
We do know that. We do know that. We do know. Marcus Rashford came out when we lost that. Remember, Travis?
No,
we lost the Europa League final.
You're not
letting me. I'm sorry, Sean. Sean, I'm not speculating this. This is what's coming out of the players' fucking mouths.
No,
I'm
not
speculating.
You don't even know what I'm saying.
Stop trying to make me sound like I'm speculating. I'm a conspiracy theorist. This is what's come out of the fucking players' mouths.
Just listen first before you respond, so that you know what you're responding to, right? Nothing that you're saying here is news to me, that sometimes players are forced to play through injury. But I reject the assertion that it's only happening at United. That's just not true. It's not true that United is the only club.
I don't give a fuck about other football clubs. I give a fuck about my football club.
If you want to be grounded on planet
about my football club.
I know 100%
fact.
Is perfect.
I'm sorry, Sean. I know 100% fact. Manchester United. There are other football clubs who have a better medical team than Manchester United, because we've been run by fucking bankers who know nothing about fucking football. So, of course, every department is going to be mismanaged. You conceded that point, but then you want to argue with me now. Manchester United.
I'm arguing, and I'm saying
Ferguson, if you weren't fit, if you couldn't play, Fergie would take you off.
Fergie knew how to rotate. For players to play through pain. It is not out of the ordinary. Even in basketball, LeBron James, in tennis, Nadal, it is not out of the ordinary for players to play through pain. This nonsense.
Listen to me. I'm talking about players who've got fractured fucking backs. You don't play with a fractured fucking back. You don't. That's dangerous.
I am not talking about any specific injury. I'm talking about simply the concept of playing through pain. It is not out of the ordinary.
I'm giving you examples. That's what I'm doing. I'm giving you series. I gave you the Pogba example. I can give you a recent one. I can give you a recent one. I can give you a recent one. Sean, hold on 1 second. I can give you a recent one. Martinez had a metatarsal. They said he was healed. They said they had a successful operation. He came back. After 2 games, he relapsed. He was out.
I'm sorry, Nuruddin, but I know we think we know better than Ten Hag and the people running the club
now. Yes, we fucking do, because it keeps happening.
If that makes you feel comfortable, you can believe that.
Happening. You go and tell me, find me a player at Man City, find me a player at Liverpool, find me a player at Arsenal who's had an injury, had an operation, everything they said was fixed, come back again. Same injury.
I can't think of one offhand, but
no,
I'm sure there are examples.
It's not happening often. It's not happening often. The way that players have been managed, is everybody knows it. That's why we're getting players. You know what? This season. Do you know this season? Do you know this season? Let me finish. Do you know this season? Manchester United have had more players who have been ill than any other football club. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no? Have Manchester United have more players that have been ill than any other club? Yes, they have.
No, yes, but what conclusion do you draw from that?
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Exactly. I don't know what is going on either. So
exactly, but it's happening to United. Why does it keep happening? Why?
No, but what I know is that, like, a decision is made between a manager and a player about when the player is ready to come back to the pitch. I trust Ten Hag, and I believe in the manager's.
When it comes to a lot of players, they want to play, and they will never tell if they're injured. If you've been a player yourself, you probably
Yeah,
played football yourself.
I
You know,
agree with that.
a lot of players are overconfident. They think they can play through injuries and just keep going, run it off. That's
I,
the mentality
I
of
agree with
footballers.
that. And
And you
in some
can't trust a
instances,
player if they say, "Yeah, boss, I'm ready." Okay,
in
play. You
no
need a medical team and people who are grown ups who can tell them you're
no
not
but no
playing
no no
today.
but Jarvis
You have had
Jarvis
an ACL injury, you have
in the same
had an
United example.
operation, something, and you will sit out the next game. I will play you 10 minutes the game after, and you will sit out, and we will try you gradually. That's what a
But
grown
that
up
has been
medical
happening.
team do. Not United. Luke Shaw is injured for a long time, comes back, gets injured again. He got took off 2 weeks ago, and this weekend
No, now no,
he
but
started
Jarvis,
again
that's
and
just not
injured for three
true.
months.
That's just not true. Everything we hear from the manager is that first of all, when the player comes back from injury, the first thing they do is get them to the grass. So they'll give you updates to say, oh, he's on the grass now, oh, he's training now,
Mm.
oh, he's doing this now. So it's just not true that the player comes out of the medical room and goes straight to the pitch. That's not true.
Well,
And
what
again,
happened
like
to
we
Luke
should
Shaw? He
stop.
was taken off. He was taken off against who did we beat? Was it Wolves? The
Villa,
Wolves game,
Villa,
the
Villa.
Villa game. Yeah, he was taken off because of precaution, injury precaution, and he started against Luton and 3 months injured.
Yeah,
That's
but
that's not
Jarvis,
that's not how you run.
He also admitted that the player also has a say, and I think
Yeah.
Eric Ten Hag is having to make a very difficult choice to try and balance his desire to put out his strongest team with
Mhm.
managing the injuries available and all of
How
that.
do you know? How do you know that, Sean? How do you know that?
No, like I think the difference between
How do you know
me
that,
and
Sean?
no,
You
different
see
no,
how
the
easy it
difference
is
between
to throw that back at you? It's a
the difference between
mismanagement of the
me
player's injury.
and
He should
majority
not
of
have
the
played
comments
against
here.
Luton. He should not have played against Luton, knowing that he was taken off because of precaution. They would have done more tests, and he should not have been allowed to play against Luton.
That is one way of looking at it. I think the manager has to make a tough call, and in my opinion, when somebody's making a tough call, I defer from criticizing that because I don't know what call I'll make in that position. I appreciate the certainty that you guys have in knowing exactly what you would do in this circumstance, but I think the manager has a tough call to make, and he's making the calls, and the consequences are coming, and we'll have to deal with them as they are. Hindsight is 2020, so after the fact, you can say he should not have played, right? But what if he played and got away with it? Then what? I think the manager is having to make some very tough decisions. He has to balance the injury of his players with putting out the strongest team, with trying to win games in a crucial period of the season. I don't blame him for erring on the side of a more aggressive recovery plan for these players. I don't blame him for doing that. If we were in a more comfortable position, we could say, oh, rest Martinez for how long it takes, rest Luke Shaw for how long he needs. But now the manager has to make those difficult calls, and I don't feel comfortable sitting here talking about what I would do when I'm not in that position. I have the luxury of not being in that position to make a tough call. And again, yeah, see, like I think what's happening a lot of the time is that like people are motivated reasoning. People are working backwards from their conclusion and retroactively fitting everything. I am open to new contradictory information. If you recall at the beginning of the season, no one was a louder critic of Ten Hag than me at the beginning of the season. But the facts have changed my position.
I was calling it out. Sean, I'm sorry. I was calling Ten Hag out from last January. So let's stop right there. When you were giddy on that giddy train, I was calling it out and saying to you, this football is not sustainable.
I'm explaining
from
the
last
phenomenon
January
of responding to alternative information. What I'm saying is that I have the ability to receive information and change my mind. What appears to be the case here in this argument and through the comments I'm seeing is that many people have their conclusion and work backwards from the conclusion and try and fit everything into their argument.
The conclusion is simple.
It's why
you're
why
not
you
giving an injury-prone player a 5-year contract.
I want to knock them off their perch and be upset about it.
Sean, who the fuck am I?
Really?
Sean, I'm a guy who lives in South Central Manchester. I've got FA coaching badge on too, right? And I could tell you that Luke Shaw did not deserve a fucking 5-year contract because he's injury-prone.
I'm sure that if you poll, 10 people will give you 10 different answers about that.
No, they wouldn't. Everybody knows about it. Everybody jokes about it. Do you not see it on Twitter when it's trending, when Shaw's trending? Everybody's laughing about it.
No,
And you know what you had?
that
You know
means
what you
nothing
had?
to me.
You know
There are
what you
many
had?
fans who are
Listen to
falling
me.
prey to
You
this
know
type
what
of
you had?
thinking.
You know what you had? You had played every manager that came. He's a bad trainer. He's overweight. You've had all of the talk. Everybody talking about him in the 10 years that he's been here. Nobody's professionalism has ever been questioned more than it's been questioned Shaw because of his overeating and the weight that he puts on. Come on, Sean. Wake up, man. It's like you've got this selective amnesia.
No,
All of a sudden.
no. I remember.
I'm sorry, you do. You have selective amnesia. There are a quarter of the United fan base that live up his backside. Majority of Manchester United fans wanted to get him gone. I used to argue with people and go, listen, he broke his leg. He deserves to be.
I dare not speak for majority, quote unquote, of fans, and I dare not try and classify anything like that because I know that's what fans like to do. Many fans like to say, if you don't agree with me, you're not a real fan.
No, I'm not agreeing with you.
So I don't know what
it's
majority
common
of the fans
knowledge.
think.
Sean,
Because
it might be breaking news to you.
Trafford,
Sean,
the entire stadium is screaming,
Luke Shaw's
running down the
career
track.
at Manchester
So do
United.
you not hate him?
John, Luke Shaw's career at Manchester United has been a contentious one at best. Can you admit that? Or unless that you've not been paying attention. If you've not been paying attention, then that's on to you, so you can say that.
That's an entirely different claim than Luke Shaw. His professionalism has been questioned throughout his career. That's an entirely different claim. That Luke Shaw has had a contentious career.
Sean, hold it there. Sean, hold it there. Jose Mourinho, as the manager, literally said this. I have never heard a manager say this about any professional footballer in my entire life of watching football. You know what he said, Sean? I'm going to remind you because you've got that incredible selective amnesia. You know that selective amnesia that you have. Let me give you
selective
memory. You're open to new evidence.
Why is Jose Mourinho's words gospel on this topic? Why is the statement gospel? So why are you bringing up what he said?
I'm saying to you, what drove a manager? Listen to me. Manager does not like players. Jose Mourinho, every club that he went to, he falls out with players, right? So that is natural. But Jose Mourinho has never in his career, as far as I understand, because I got my uncle and my other brother, my other cousin, they love Jose Mourinho. The talk of Jose saying that he wanted to come back to United on finished business, they were getting excited. My uncle called me straight away and was like, oh, bring Jose back. Now that we got football, we're going to get football structure. Listen to me. I promise you, Jose Mourinho has never uttered the words that he uttered about Luke Shaw. He said, he's playing with my brain and his body. And the reason why he played well in this game is because I was on the touchline telling him, Sean.
No, but nobody, who cares? Jose Mourinho has falling out with players every single club that he went to.
Listen to me, Sean. Sean, are you in front of a computer? In 10 years at Manchester United, I want you to Google what has been said about Luke Shaw.
Many
it's
different
not
things.
Jose Mourinho. It was not just Jose Mourinho who questioned him. It was not just Jose Mourinho that
many different things have been said about Luke Shaw by many different fans, by many different coaches, by many different analysts. Many things have been said about Luke Shaw. You don't ask me to take Jose Mourinho's word for it. When if I give you a quote from Ten Hag praising Luke Shaw, you wouldn't accept that as dispositive. So why should I take Jose Mourinho's own claim as the final word on Luke Shaw? Like I don't understand.
Sean, you're talking to somebody who used to defend Luke Shaw. When Luke Shaw broke his leg, a lot of other Manchester United fans, especially the ones who went to the stadium, were telling us, saying, you know what, we need to get rid of Luke Shaw because he's broke his leg. Players who had that type of break are never the same. And I was saying to them, listen, he broke that leg because when he had a Manchester United shirt on, the best Manchester United can do is give him time, all the time that he needs, not to rush him back, for him to fully recover, not just physically, but psychologically. You know what?
What are we arguing about here? We're arguing because you claim that Luke Shaw is stealing a living at United.
Yes, he has.
And I disagree.
So's Phil Jones. I think he's an unlucky player.
He's
not an unlucky player. No, he's not.
Disagree.
And you don't listen to me. Like Jarvis said to you before, Manchester United are not a charity. But for me, because I
pick one now. Pick one. Pick one. Is it mismanagement or he's a scammer?
Listen to me. I loved Luke Shaw in his first season when we bought him for 30 million. I was like, wow, that's a bit too excessive. Then I went to the stadium and watched him play, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's like Roberto Carlos. Like, literally, at one game, I think he clocked from one 18-yard box to the next 18-yard box, how many seconds he was there in terms of pace and power. And this is before he broke his leg. He was one of the best players under Louis van Gaal. He broke his leg, and I was telling the fans, a lot of the fans who were like, we need to go and get rid because he's never going to come back the same player. And that's because of their experience. Some of them are older than me. They said that's what happens, right? Players, when they break that they don't come back ever the same. Anyway, I was like, no, we need to stick with him. He broke his leg playing for Manchester United. We shouldn't get rid of him. I saw it happen to Dion Dublin. Remember Dion Dublin? He broke his leg. Manchester United, he didn't come back. The fitness, he moved into a different club. We signed Cantona. The rest was history. I'm sorry to say, Luke Shaw stole a fucking living. And yet again, after a decade there now, he's got another 3 to 4 years left in his contract.
It's one thing to say that he should have been sold.
I'm sorry, Sean. On this one, you have absolute zero clue.
Nuruddin, I'm restraining myself from.
You have zero clue. You didn't even understand about what's been happening with Luke Shaw and the Manchester United fan base. You have no idea what's been going on with the fan base.
You'll be surprised.
You have
how much I
zero clue.
know.
Luke Shaw, every fan, majority of fans have been like, what the hell is going on?
View that makes me feel good about myself. But Jarvis, jump in.
I just want to make a prediction, so everybody can just clip me right now. I'm telling you, we have no left back. Malacia has been out for the whole of the season, and when he comes back, he will be forced to play right away, and he will be injured again. That's my prediction.
Okay, Jarvis, we'll see how that plays out. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I think it's one thing to say that Luke Shaw should have been sold. That's a reasonable claim that reasonable people can disagree with. It's one thing to say that. It's another thing to say that
Luke Shaw is scamming United. Experience. The pattern is there if you see it, for you to see.
But Jarvis, you cannot point to 2 instances over a 10-year period and tell me that's a pattern. I'm sorry, 2 data points don't make a pattern. That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, that doesn't fly anywhere. You cannot point to 2 data points and call it a pattern. I just don't agree with that. I don't know what is in Luke Shaw's heart. I don't think he's trying to scam.
You don't agree with it, Sean. But majority of Manchester United fans knew about Luke Shaw's injury proneness.
No, the majority don't.
The majority don't. Listen to me. Majority of Manchester United fans know that how Luke Shaw's professional. Listen to me. Luke Shaw's professionalism. I'm gonna get the word out. Luke Shaw's professionalism has been questioned. Everybody knows that he's been a contentious player at Manchester United.
It was questioned by Jose Mourinho. Why is Jose Mourinho's
not because
word
of Jose Mourinho. Not just because of Jose Mourinho. Not just because of Jose Mourinho. Not just because of Jose Mourinho. His professionalism has been questioned again and again. Especially that's why the jokes happen about his weight. Do you think these jokes are baseless about his weight?
There are a bunch of, when I'm seeing them in the comments, there are a bunch of fans who agree with you and agree with each other and kind of like share the same general sentiment. About things.
You know how much abuse I was getting? You know how much abuse I was getting when we did that show? And I said, bought the t-shirt, got the popcorn, seen this movie before. Some of them were like, what are you talking about? Shalberto. You know how many people in the comments were telling me that I was wrong and I didn't have a clue what I was talking about?
No, as in, again, like this thing seems really simple to me. What we disagree on is simply that I think the reason people can disagree on whether Luke Shaw should have been sold, that's the club's call. They decided to keep him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Care.
So this is the point we were making. The club, it's not being run like a football club. It was run on the
That's a different claim.
No.
That's a different claim.
It's not a different claim. Sean, it's not a different claim.
Luke Shaw is pretending
Sean, it's not a different claim. It's not, Sean, it's not a fucking different claim. It's not. The Glazeronomics says it's easier to keep the player who you've got, renew the contract, than to buying a new player. That's Glazonomics 101 if you pay attention. So that's the reason why so many players have been only allowed to leave when they have had their contracts run out, their contracts finito. That's where they were allowed to go. They were not allowed to go. Go ahead, Jarvis.
Yeah, I just want to say, just to move this debate on, Luke Shaw is on 150K a week, and now, showing the season he has had now with a lot of injuries and his age profile. Do you think he should be moved on in the summer? And if we move him on, should we buy a new left back? And in that case, who should be the new left back?
I don't know. I don't see many amazing left backs in world football at this moment in time, Jarvis. But Luke Shaw is outstayed his welcome. He should have been gone 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. He should have been gone.
Yeah. If you're asking the question to the panel, Jarvis, I don't mind Luke Shaw staying personally. I don't mind him staying. My recollection as a United fan, because I know some people like to think of themselves as more a United fan than others, but we've all been watching United for many years. And my recollection as a United fan includes many seasons in which Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was out, in which Wes Brown was out, in which Darren Fletcher was out, in which Luis Saha was out. There were many players we had who had problems with injuries. And because the United brand means more than this strict military system that you guys have of perfection or bust, it's a family also. And I don't mind Luke Shaw being in the club. I don't mind him being here. He doesn't take anything away from me. I like seeing him when he plays. If we bring him on and he plays well, all well and good. It doesn't take anything away from me for having him in the club. And I know it to satisfy our personal.
That's laughable. That is laughable, Sean. That is so laughable. We're talking about Dennis Irwin, probably the greatest left back in the history of the Premier League. Patrice Evra, who hardly ever got injured, who used to be insulted, would want to fight with Fergie when Fergie would try to drop him and say to him, listen, Patrice, you need a bit of rest. I need you to have energy for this big game. You're talking about players like that. Luke Shaw has been injury prone. Every Manchester United fan who goes to the stadium, those who live from Timbuktu to wherever, who live in Jupiter, understand and know that Luke Shaw being an injury-prone footballer.
No, but are you having trouble hearing me? Because I don't disagree that he's injury-prone. I'm not saying he's not injury-prone. He's an injury-prone player. So
a club should have got rid of him because the best availability, the best form is being available. Especially, let me finish. Especially now, Sean, let me finish. Especially now in modern football, Jarvis, what are the key positions? In the last 10
fullbacks.
Fullbacks.
That's the most important role in a team because now they invert. They are midfielders and they are two-way players. They also attack and they defend.
Look,
you see, for example, Dalot. He's such an important player for the current team because he's a two-way player. Probably one of the best two-way players in the Premier League at the moment. You see him going into attack, contributing assists, goals, and he runs back and defends. So that's the most important role. And you see all the other big teams, just to compare to Liverpool, because we don't like Liverpool, but they have Trent and Robertson, two fantastic fullbacks.
And have you seen what they got? The kid that they had, who obviously lost his father.
United have a very young, promising fullback.
And then they've got the Greek guy. Remember, they've got the Greek guy. The Greek guy who's available.
We have a promising left back in Alvaro Fernandez, out on loan, learning his trade and growing as a professional. I don't mind him where he is. We have Malacia, who we do not plan to get injured, but is injured, who is developing where he is. As far as I'm concerned, my personal opinion, Luke Shaw is one of the best left backs in the world, and I don't mind him being in the United team. I don't mind him being in the team. When he's available, he's going to start. If he's fit, he walks into almost any team in the world, in my opinion. If he's fit, he starts for almost all the teams in the world. In Spain, in England, in Germany, whatever team that he gets into, if he's fit, he walks in. Basically,
his recovery pace is gone. He's not as fast as he used to be.
He's not as fast as he used to be.
If you see how Dalot recovers, two-way player, as I talked about, it's a whole different level
Jarvis,
than Luke Shaw.
How many left backs in the world are better than fit Luke Shaw? How many left backs in the world are better than a fit Luke Shaw?
Well, at the moment, all of them because he's injured.
Gvardiol Gvardiol's not even a left back. He's a better left back.
Danny Pitt looks sure.
Yeah, he is. He recovers better.
I mean,
he recovers better.
This is what I'm
defensively,
saying.
Defensively, he recovers better. Defensively, he recovers better, and he's not a shitbag. He doesn't run into the box. He doesn't run away and be a shitbag and foul people because he can't be out because he's too lazy. He's too lazy to run. I'm sorry, Sean. We're not having this debate. We're not having this debate. Every Manchester United fan knows we prefer him. Majority of Manchester United fans know that we actually prefer him better as a centre half than we do as a left back. Because as a left back, he's terrible. Defensively, he's terrible when he's on the back foot.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting position. Like, this is the motivated reason I'm referring to. Luke Shaw is an injury-prone player. We could have sold him in the past. We may have sold him. Maybe we should have sold him. That means nothing to me.
If the football was run properly, he would have been gone. No football club keeps as the main left back, as the main guy, as the left back for that long. No. Yeah,
if wishes were horses, beggars would ride.
No, it's the truth.
In the real world.
I'll ask the question to Jarvis. Jarvis, would Luke Shaw survive at Liverpool?
No, I don't think so because Jurgen Klopp demands more. You know, you might, as I talked about two-way players, you see Trent probably has some deficiency when it comes to defensive play, but Robertson is perfect both ways. And we have Dalot, but we need some left back at the same level. I think about other clubs, Real Madrid, and have you heard about Theo Hernandez, for example? Isn't he a left back? Fantastic player.
But I don't rate him defensively. Defensively, he's terrible.
What are you guys? I mean, again, let's not get into let's not wait. I think personally, some United fans are looking for psychic relief. There's some players that we hate, and we're looking for some psychic relief from seeing them gone.
No, there isn't. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie, Sean.
Make everybody happy.
That's a lie. That's a lie, Sean. Sorry, Sean. That's a lie. That's a lie, and you know it. That is.
I don't know. That's absolute. That's you know what I get. That's the sense I get from listening to the coverage.
I'm sorry.
Talking to
I'm sorry. No,
fans.
that is not it. Nobody hates him because they know him personally. There's no personal issue here. It's what you do when you're on the football pitch.
No.
Luke Shaw.
Can't be the pitch.
I made a video.
It can't be the football pitch.
Listen to me. I made a video and I said, right. And the biggest thing about it, the people who literally furiously hate Martial, people come back at them and go, but look at Luke Shaw. They go, but look at Luke Shaw. He's injured. He's been injured as much as Martial has been injured. He's had seasons out of Manchester United, but nobody says anything about him.
Look, anybody that compares both of them.
Some people say, why? Because the face doesn't fit. Because he's the guy who's not got girlfriends and wives that he's breaking up with. He's not in the newspapers every week being spotted with a new whatever, baby mother drama and all of that kind of business. But no, Luke Shaw, man, I nearly got into a fight with somebody, actually, was having a severe go at him. And I was like, when I'm in the stadium, I said, when I'm walking out, I can have a laugh and joke and like, what the fuck was that, right? But we shouldn't really scream at the players. We shouldn't. And then guess what? I found myself, Jarvis, 5 games later, screaming at I'm having me and this fan are getting into it going, we should be encouraging him here. But the level of frustration in the stadium, you're just like, he's not even going past the fucking halfway line. What is he doing? So same thing with Diego Dalot, by the way. Diego Dalot at this moment in time
for all of us is to start winning matches. I think that's
Diego Dalot.
Diego Dalot is misplaced aggression.
Let me just make this. Diego Dalot is currently on good form, right? We can all say that. We can all admit that. He's actually been one of the most consistent players recent form. He's actually playing a recovery, the positioning on the ball.
But
he's doing all those different things. Listen to me.
No. Listen. Dalot was another example the fans were pointing at as an example of the failure of the ownership.
No. Let me finish.
Now he's like the best player.
No. Sean, let me finish. We're talking about 2. Before the World Cup, we didn't even see Aaron Pasaka, because Diego Dalot has been absolutely on fire. From the season before, when we got Eric Ten Hag, till the World Cup, Jarvis, one of the best players of the season was who? Diego Dalot.
Yep.
All the fans. We were all here. We were watching it. We were here. I remember Saka got into the team. He came back in, and it was like Jekyll and Hyde. We're like, what the hell is going on? If I'm not mistaken, did he play in the Olympics? I think he played in the Olympics in that summer. And then played in the World Cup, if you don't remember, Travis. I think he might have done. Played for Portugal and then played in the World Cup. So he got taken to the World Cup anyway. I don't know how many games he played, but he didn't play that much. And then he came back to the form, and there was a huge dip in his form. And people were like, what the hell is going on? That's what happened, Sean. Before the World Cup, he was probably one of the best players on that Eric Ten Hag team. That's what he was.
Yeah, no,
and
but what I'm pointing at is the reactionary tendency of United fans to make everything a catastrophe. Just like Luke Shaw getting injured is now a catastrophe, and a harbinger, a
Sean, it has been a catastrophe. Sean, every player, every football player, every coach, every medical staff, every trainer, every guy who puts the bin out, all of them have been a failure in the past 10 to 11 fucking years. Yes, Sean, it has been a failure.
Yeah,
Manchester United spent more money than anybody else in world football almost, right? We had we only the second highest wages in world football for a decade almost. We've got one FA Cup. It's the only fucking trophy I recognize. One Europa League and 2 League Cups. It is a shambolic, regardless what Jarvis is about, charity shield, with Jose Mourinho counts, which is embarrassing.
It's a poor return. It's a poor return, and
it's been a failure. So stop having a go at the fans, Sean. Stop having a go at the fans, your fellow fans, and point the fingers where it should be pointed.
No.
The mismanagement of Manchester United holds at the door of the Glazers. And if you want to defend that, you can do it all day.
No. I have to have a go at the fans because I believe in what Sir Jim said about some conversations being more constructive than others. I think many fans are hell-bent on being right about who they said we shouldn't sign, who they said we should sign, how they said we should have done this and done that. I'm more interested in validating their own beliefs.
Right, Sean.
Many fans
have been proven right. Many fans who are not professional, who don't work in a professional capacity at football clubs, can see what's going to happen, and they've called it right.
No, if as I'm saying, that's what I'm criticizing. I think many people are far more invested.
So you want to criticize knowledgeable fans, then, Sean? You want to criticize knowledgeable fans who can see the patterns, which you can't see.
Not knowledgeable. A broken clock is right twice a day.
Sean.
A broken clock is right twice a day. Not knowledgeable.
Sean,
I'm criticizing the tendency to
when you watch football, Sean, Jarvis, let me ask Jarvis a question. Jarvis, the amount of years you watch football, do you see patterns occurring? And can you foresee what's going to happen? Yes or no? Because
all the time. I think
you wake up.
Yeah, sure. I see all these patterns all the time, and you recognize because you've seen it before.
So Jarvis, your pattern. What did he have to say about Leicester winning the title that year, or United scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of the Champions League final to win the trophy? What does your pattern have to say about that?
I'm talking about gameplay, and I see patterns and things that repeat himself.
And by the way, Sean, listen, let me tell you about that Manchester United Champions League final, right? Manchester United that season were never beaten till it was over. 99 season. I want you to go and have a look. 11 days. I want you to go on YouTube, type in 11 days of the treble of Manchester United. I was at Old Trafford. We're losing 1-0 on the last day against Spurs, and we're struggling. And the nerves in the stadium, there's so much fucking nerves in that stadium. So much. People were like, I'm feeling sick. What the fuck is happening? We can't lose it on the last day. People were apologetic. But you know what people were saying around us? Listen, guys, this team is never beaten. We're like, what the? We're looking at
it's a simple statement.
Listen to me.
Right?
No, stop. Sean, let me finish.
It's a
We're
simple
looking
thing.
and going, listen, Sean, let me finish. No, Sean, let me finish. Let me finish. No, Sean, I have to finish. We're looking at the bench and we're saying, what the fuck is Fergie playing at? So many people. Andy Cole comes to warm up. The Old Trafford, the Stretford nearly explodes. Because we're like, he's one of our top scorers this season. What the fuck is he doing on the bench? Guess what, Jarvis? Cole comes on. Within minutes of coming on, 10 minutes of, I reckon, if I'm trying to recollect my bang. I think it was Beckham who scored. Is it Beckham who scored the winner or Beckham who scored the equalizer, if I'm not mistaken? It was Andy Cole and David Beckham that scored, 100%. I don't know. It's Andy Cole with a chip, with a lob. I can picture the goal. I can see it. I can see what happened to my leg. I jumped so hard that I jumped in the seat and my leg was trapped. My little skinny leg was trapped on the fucking chair I was standing on.
I don't understand the point of this.
So the point what I'm trying to make to you, Sean, is that yes, we could see the patterns. We could see the pattern, Sean. That Manchester United, that's season, if they got chances, if Manchester United got chances, listen to me, Sean, listen to me, Sean. You're not listening. You're depriving the fucking viewers of the knowledge that I have. You're depriving them. I'm telling you, we were 2-0 down against Juventus, and I knew on my mother's grave that United were not going out. 2-0 down. 2-0 down. Because you know why? We were making fucking chances. We were making chances. Manchester United were tearing Juventus apart. And I was saying, it's the only time we're going to score. And we didn't score. Now, in that game, I'm sat there nervous, biting my nails in 99. And I'm like, one chance, please, one more chance. And we take it. We fucking take it. I'm outside celebrating, running around. Solskjaer scores.
See, Nuruddin,
what are you talking about? If you know anything, you're a United fan. If you're a Manchester United, Sean, if you're a Manchester United fan, Sean, and you did not know that season, that treble-winning team were never beaten, then you don't know what the hell you're talking about. How old were you on 99, Sean? How old were you?
What are you talking about, Nuruddin?
How old were you?
What I'm simply saying is that if you're such an astute predictor of football, we wouldn't be here having this conversation. But instead, you're a regular guy like me who makes predictions. But the difference between both of us is that I'm humble enough to know when it's luck versus when it's an analysis that gives rise to my position. And I'm simply saying that I agree with Sir Jim Ratcliffe that some conversations are more constructive than others. And my entire reason is to have more constructive conversations.
He's come out with just a lot of waffle and PR. By the way, big up Craig. Happy birthday, Craig. How old are you, Craig? Happy birthday, people. Craig, you didn't have to send that. Thank you for the super chat, but happy birthday. Happy birthday, Craig.
Happy birthday, Craig. 46 years old.
Happy birthday. I just want to say to the United fans, in 99, Jarvis will tell you, I will tell you, there were games that we were thought. The game against Arsenal. You know when Bergkamp got that penalty, Jarvis. I switched it. I grabbed the remote. I switched it off. I switched the TV off. And then I went to the.
Michael, he saved it.
Yeah, listen. I went to the toilet. I put the kettle on. I was around my cousins were around, and I put it back on, and I was like, "What? Save!" I was cursing Phil Neville. And then Giggs does what he does. I swear to you, every Manchester United fan from then felt invisible.
Yeah.
That time, these are closest and nearest rivals. In the biggest game of the fucking season, FA Cup semi-final, what should have been the final. Roy Keane, our leader, our captain, gets sent off.
I wish to have you guys' powers. Your powers of
no powers. There was no powers. That's what I'm trying to prove to you.
What are you talking about now?
There was no fucking powers. So but what I'm trying to say to you is that after that game, everybody believed. The belief was there. Everybody believed. And then we go, listen, we take the league to the last game of the season.
That's
we beat Newcastle, and everybody knew we were going to beat Newcastle because they have better players than them.
For a second, just hold on. And let me just make a simple claim.
What are you talking about?
All I'm
Jarvis.
asking for from fans, summary of my entire position, my reason d'etre. There are some conversations that are more constructive than others. Number one. Number two, believe. That's all. To me, that's what being a United fan means. Believe. It means that I can go to San Siro with Darren Gibson and Anderson in midfield and not give a damn because I believe. It means I can go to the Bernabeu with Welbeck leading the line and I don't care because I believe. That is the difference between, in my opinion, I feel outcome on the pitch is 60% actual ability and 40% vibes. The vibe is very important. Confidence, faith, belief. So I'm encouraging all the guys. I know you all have your hobby horses. You all have the people you don't like. Maguire, Luke Shaw, McTominay, everybody. But Sir Jim is moving the club in the right direction. And let us believe. Our belief plays a role.
I'm sorry to say,
believe.
Sean. Well, listen to me. Sean, exactly. I went from being that type of fan, which you just described, to being the disillusionment, the absolute criminals who ruined this fucking football club, who are still at the fucking football club.
I'm glad you admit that.
You want me to have some blind faith. You want me to have some blind faith. And I knew that season. I'm going to ask Jarvis 1 second. I'm going to ask Jarvis a question. Jarvis, did that season, could you understand the magic that was in the air as a United fan? Yes or no? In 99. What we did to Barcelona, what we did to Inter Milan, what we did to Juventus. Did you ever think Manchester United were not beating Juventus that night when we were 2-0 down to Inzaghi goals?
Yeah, but it started earlier in that season. Even in the group stage, we played against Bayern, we played against Barcelona. We were really good, and you could see it. But for me, it started. The big belief started when Solskjaer scored against Liverpool in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
The late goal. That was when I really like, oh, this is it. Now we are winning. So it was a big season, but everybody remembers that season. If you were alive in the 99 season, that was a fantastic year, being a United supporter.
There have been many years of fantastic years, many fantastic years. But
not like 99. I'm sorry.
I am convinced that I'm convinced
not
that
99.
I'm convinced that there are some fans for whom
nothing will
they
ever
would rather
compare.
see the club relegated just to prove their points.
Sean, yeah. You know what, Sean? You know what? On my life, right? I know that Glazers will fuck off if Manchester United were relegated.
That's just
there'll
nonsense.
be no Champions League money to play. There'll be no Champions League money to play. There'll be no Champions League money for them to play to get more revenue from vulture of the fucking football club. So I'm sorry, I am one of those. I said it on this channel, and I said it.
Yeah, no, like, I don't understand how you can say that and then claim
who would have it and say that. Who would say that? Who would stand by that? I say it with my chest.
Jarvis, are you on that same page? Would you rather see the club get relegated than
yes, I would.
Than the Glazers continue?
The Glazers, yeah, I would. 1 year in the chat, we've done it before in 1970s, and we came back. We came back from it. We came back.
No, Jarvis.
Relegation
what's your feeling about that?
Many clubs get relegated and come back.
Are you on that? Are you supporting that too?
Us getting relegated, if it meant that the Glazers would leave, yeah, definitely. I would play in the championship for 1 year, knowing that we will get our club back. It's been 18 years, so for me that will be acceptable.
That's fascinating. For me personally, I don't want the club to get relegated. I don't want us to lose games. I would prefer that we win games. I don't care who the owner of the club is, as long as we're winning games. Win games, and I'll be happy. That's it. Just win. We were a couple of De Gea mistakes away. Last season, we were a couple of De Gea mistakes away from winning the FA Cup and some significant trophies. So don't tell me that like anything is written in stone in football.
Sorry, Sean. Again, selective amnesia. We were shit in the final. We were fucking dog shite because our players were all shattered. They were all fucking shattered from being overplayed. That's why the players had no fucking energy. They were shit, except for in that game. We were only in that game. We got a lucky penalty, if I'm not mistaken, and we only come into it in the last 5 minutes of the fucking game.
What the hell is football? That's what I'm saying. Football is about 50%.
No, sorry, I had zero belief. Listen, deep down, Jarvis knew it. Every Manchester United fan knew it. That we had zero chance of winning in that fucking game.
There are so
Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it, Sean. You want to have some selective amnesias? Go right ahead.
No.
At the
What
end
I'm
of the
simply
day,
saying,
at the end of the day, you just listen. You just listen. You just want to be this devil's advocate guy. You can be that. Manchester United. Manchester United
you
Football
wanna
Club.
have motivated reasoning.
No, Manchester
You would
United
rather see
Football
the
Club.
club you claim
Manchester
to love
United,
relegated
Sean, I
than
repeat,
have success.
Manchester United Football
Nonsense.
Club have been mismanaged to an industrial fucking scale.
No
the
shit.
mismanagement.
Like
No
shit.
other organization, no other
You might as well
business
tell me that
will
today is
ever
Wednesday.
be managed like that
That's not
for that
news.
length of time. And
That's
you
not
want to
news.
ignore all of that and say, well, this. So many times, I
but
would take
you can't
League
even articulate my
fucking
position
two
because
if
you're
it
not even
meant getting
listening.
rid of to get my club back.
Like you
That's the
can't even
difference between me and
articulate
you.
a
I
different
don't
position from
ignore
what you believe
the fucking
because you're not listening.
The rotten, how rotten Manchester United as a football club has become. I don't ignore that. And I'll wrap it up because we've chatted for 2 hours. This Jim Ratcliffe and this new structure. I've done a show on Monday. Go and check it out. And I said, how are we going to judge? We asked the question, how we should judge the new structure. And I say it again. You could get whoever the fuck you want, whoever specialist you want. If you don't give them the tools and don't build the environment for them to succeed, you go on the roundabout again. Jim the Rat Judas, who gave the Glazers what they wanted, I will never accept him. Never.
You sound extremely bitter.
But
like
to me,
nothing
what I
you're
care
saying,
about is the
nothing you're
fans'
saying is
happiness, because I'm
tethered
not
to
that
reality.
selfish. I care about the fans' happiness. So if these people can come in,
but you don't care about the
do
happiness.
what needs to
You
be
care
done,
about being right.
which normal
You care
football
about being
clubs,
proving your
I
own points,
fucking
not
repeat,
the happiness
people,
of the
for
fans.
the people at the back. Normal football clubs operate. It's not something miraculous or something innovative Manchester United are doing. Just focusing on what's going on the fucking football pitch and building the culture and environment. I hope they can do that, and I hope we then condemn being back to what it is to be a football club.
But you don't hope that. You hope the club gets relegated because the Glazers are not going
because
anywhere.
I've got my friends' children where they're constantly bribing them to stay supporting United instead of supporting City or Liverpool or Real Madrid. They have to bribe their children. It's unusual to us because it's been a decade that my generation of fathers are bribing their children to stay with the club. So for them,
you can't
I
even
hope
you can't
and
even
pray
articulate
and wish that
a position different to yours
the
because
structure
you're
that
not
comes
listening
in
to what anybody
can
else
get
says.
this club back on track
You're just
after the failure. Jarvis, last word on the show.
I just want to say, for me, when it comes to this Jim Ratcliffe interview, just to round up and go back to it. For me, this was clearly a political interview, like a PR stunt, and I would like to see, as Tom mentioned in some earlier shows, Tom Journalist 1, that he would like Jim Ratcliffe to sit down with some people like the 58s or something and have an interview, no scripted interview with questions up front, and asked the tough questions, the hard questions, and really, I'm really interested in what is he trying to do with Manchester United. Because not all of this, the Glazers are good guys and we are going back to the top. Not that PR bullshit. I just want to hear for real what's his intentions. Maybe I will be on board with this.
Yeah, Jarvis, you'll never be on board because that's never going to happen, right? What you're asking for is never going to happen.
Why not? Why?
Why not? Because in the real world,
he said that in the interview. Why can't he just come out and say?
World, none of this stuff actually means much. These are very inside baseball, inside stuff between a select group of fans who are committed to a negative outlook of the club. So in the real world, nobody's going to ask him gotcha questions about the debt or anybody's nonsense. He has done everything he needs to do, and he should go back to the background.
But that's part of the problem. That's a part of the big problem, because you have to take to be able to answer the tough questions if you want to be in charge of a big company like Man United.
But he has answered questions. He doesn't answer questions from you, myself, or anybody else.
He served softball questions during the interview, both of them. It was scripted interviews. It's just a PR stunt. That what it was all about. It was all about PR.
Yeah,
he said
PR is
about
important. PR is important. PR is a very normal thing that clubs do. It's important. It's in the normal course of
Sean,
business.
Sean,
There's no
the
mystery
last
there.
word of the show. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said the right things about where he wants the club to go. I don't know what more we could ask for from a new owner other than a commitment to football over commercial ventures and a commitment to take the club back to the top. That's what we want, and those are the words that he's saying. The actions would prove it, and I would encourage the fans stop looking for short-term, immediate solutions. Sir Jim has been clear; it's going to take like 3 years or so for us to get back to the top, and just like the football on the pitch is the most important thing. Let's stop trying to score points or prove our points correctly, or trying to prove that what you said last year is actually coming to pass. The most important thing is 3 points. That's it. Like that's really all that matters. 3 points. 3 points is the most important thing. 3 points. 3 points. Whoever we're playing against next, I can't remember who we're playing against next, but 3 points the next match.
Fulham.
3 points in the game after
Fulham,
that.
3 o'clock on Saturday.
3
Then we're
points.
playing Wednesday night against Nottingham Forest in the FA Cup.
3 points against Fulham, victory against Nottingham Forest. That's all I care about. That's it. 3 points. Yeah.
Okay. Jarvis, I'll let you try again this time without being interrupted. Your last word of the show.
No, I'm good. I just want to thank everybody in the chat, the Therapy Army, for watching this 2 hours and 5 minutes. That's fantastic. Thank you, guys. And it's been an interesting debate. You know, Nuruddin and Sean, you have been debating hard about Shaw and Ratcliffe, and you know we can't all agree. It's all about opinions, and I like you both, and you're good guys. So thank you for letting me be a part of this show.
Lilas, I'm sorry, but you have to hear a different person, a different point of view. At the end of the day, we're all football fans here. So this kind of comment doesn't serve you.
Lilis, your hate empowers me. Your hate, it empowers me. I feed off it.
Listen, so Sean, can you please just be quiet 1 second? Lilas, you're better than this. So that's a yellow card for you even suggesting that. One thing, we all see things differently. There are facts on the ground that nobody should dispute, and then there is opinion. We all have that's what makes football great. That's why we love it. And before, even when there was social media or there was YouTube, Lilas, you would go to the pub, you would go to the cafe, you would go for a walk, you would put after football, before the football, you'd be chatting to your friends. This should happen. That referee was this. That manager should have made the sub here and there. Why we got that player? Why did we get rid of that player? One of the greatest things about football is that it's all mainly opinion based. That's why it is the people's game, Lilas. So Sean has every right to express his views. So is everybody else. People who call me out on here, I get them on here. People who say to me, you're delusional, you don't know what you're talking about, I get them on here. Because you know what? I believe in the freedom and the right to say what you want. As long as you are not, one thing I only ever asked you, no other channel on YouTube does this. No other channel. Majority of channels, even channels with 3,000 subscribers, ignore the chat. They ignore the chat. I make sure everybody's on here. Bumbaye is having a night out tonight, people. Bumbaye is having a night out tonight. Tom's away on holiday. Tom Journalist One. Make sure you check him out. So the thing what I say to you, it's simple. Opinions is what matters. Not my opinion is better than yours. Not Jarvis, not Sean's, nobody. The more you call me out, the more I put it on screen.
And Nerdy, can I just say that, like, I appreciate you, like, having me on, because and I agree with you that not every channel, like, you know, entertains opinions of people that you differ with, and you give them the space to talk, and, you know, even though we see things differently, like, we still engage either on Twitter, you know, like, in the mentions, in the replies, and or on here, so that definitely is something I appreciate. Yeah.
For me, it's only football. It's an opinion. I don't have to hate you personally. No. I listen to your podcast, your political podcast, how we see things. So people who are saying Sean is the politician, he's a political analyst. He's a geopolitical analyst. And go and check him out, people. How we see things. Sean is my brother. We just disagree. He thinks the Glazers are not as much. Some of it is this, some of it is that, and I think they are vultures. That is what it is. It's simple. It's not that. It's not that complicated. It's not that deep. It's just passion. It's no hatred, right? No hatred. Me and Bumbaye, I've known Bumbaye all of my life since I was 8 years old. Been arguing with him. All that. Is that I love him like my brother. You know, he makes amazing food. He rings me. Where are you? I've got the food for you. Come outside. It's not that. And me and him go on screaming matches. You should see us on the WhatsApp group chat. So it's only a football opinion. Do not be intolerant. Do not be intolerant to hearing a different point of view. Only for me when it comes to football. If it comes to life and death and what's going on in Gaza, nah, I'm not entertaining different opinion there. Because there's a fucking genocide going on there. There's a genocide. And I'm not debating anybody on what's the facts on the ground and the deaths and the humanitarian disaster, which is a human produced, not a natural disaster. Humans. But football, yeah, 100%. The only thing I ever asked you guys about the chat is that please don't insult each other. Don't insult each other. Have banter, but don't. And I will continue to do this. And mainly, I can do this and talk. It's because I got ADHD. My brain is weird. Most YouTubers say to me, how can you chat and still connect, grab the comments, keep an eye on what's going on in the comments. I'm like, you know what? I got ADHD. That's how it is. I
gotta hop off though. Big up, guys. Big up, everyone.
Listen, big up, Sean. Sean, make sure you check him out. Let's get rid of this. Check Sean Thomas and How We See Things is the podcast. Make sure you go and check him out.
Thank you, Nuruddin. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Jarvis Cocker is Bowley77.
Yep.
Check him out. 77. Jarvis Corner, usually on Wednesday night. Jarvis
Monday
Corner.
nights.
Monday nights. Jarvis Corner, and check him out on Man UFC Realist TV. And he's always here for previews. He's here for after match reactions and everything. So big up to Jarvis. And big up to every one of you. And Craig, happy birthday. Let's wish Craig. Happy birthday
for you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Craig Warby. Warby. Happy birthday to you. And by the way, he's wearing what his profile picture is one of my favorite. 1991. Manchester United's first trophy.
Cup.
My first ever trophy that I watched Manchester United do was the cup with 1991. Rotterdam. Mark Hughes, Steve Bruce, on the rain. We beat the great Barcelona, Johan Cruyff's great Barcelona side. We beat them 2-1 in Rotterdam. That's what football's about, people. Memories. So big up to everybody. Love and light. Love. Wish him well, people. Wish him well. But take care, people. 2 hours you got. 2 hours. 2 bloody hours. We'll be back on Friday or maybe Thursday. Tomorrow night. Yeah, tomorrow night, if we can, for the preview. Or maybe Friday. We'll be back for the preview of Fulham, which is going to be a tough game. And now that there's no Luke Shaw, I think he needs to give one of the young players a chance, you know.
Yeah. You have a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He looks good.
Yeah. Let's give him a chance. Throw him in. If he's good. What used to be back in the day, Jarvis, if he's good enough,
sink or swim.
That's it.
Sink or swim.
There you go. But big up to everybody, please. And if you are watching this video later, please let us know what you thought about Jim the Radcliffe, Jim the Judas, and his PR. Did he insult your intelligence, or did you lap it up? Did you buy it? And what you also think about the debate that we had about Luke Shaw. And big up to everybody. Love and light. Look after each other. Stay connected. Free fucking Palestine. Free Palestine. stop the genocide. Tonight, the British media, the British Parliament became a joke. I don't know if you heard about it, Jarvis, but it was an absolute joke. The Scottish Independent Party, who are part of the Parliament, brought in an amendment brought in a vote to say immediate ceasefire. Labour, the Speaker of the House, said no and went with Labour's plan instead. And the Tories pulled out. It's nothing that's never been done before. Broke all of the parliamentary procedures just to make sure that Labour Party got off scot-free and they're not even in power. This is how British politics, how much favour they want to carry for the funding that's coming from the Israeli lobby in this country. And if I say that now, I will be accused of being an anti-fucking Semite. I'm not an anti-Semite. I'm against it.
Noureddin, I read today that they have dropped more bombs on Gaza than they did in the whole Iraq war.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a war actually between...
In 4.5 months, in 5 months, 30,000 dead. And you know what? Every lobby in this country, on any country, you shouldn't have any lobbies can lobby people. Not the big tech, not Saudi Arabia, not the Emiratis, not the Qataris. And I'll be saying exactly the same if they were slaughtering people. So you can accuse me of whatever you want. The Labour Party now is operating and talking like the fucking state of the apartheid, racist, Zionist fucking Israel. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. That's what they're giving cover to. And I wouldn't mind it, but Britain are involved. People are like, tonight's vote would not have done anything. Yes, it fucking would have, because Britain is complicit. The British Army, British intelligence services, British companies, they're all complicit in the slaughter and genocide of the Palestinians. Facts. The days of you just listening to the BBC and ITV are over. It's the age of information. We know where, who. Big up the SNP for bringing about an immediate ceasefire and for standing up for the Palestinians. Fuck Labour. Fuck the Tories. Fuck Starmer. Fuck Sunak. And fuck anybody who supports them and the Zionist fucking entity.
Yeah.
Peace, liberation, and light.